is Matthew. Gonna talk about stuff. Get down to work, oh yeah. Okay, it sounds something's going on. It sounds like someone's dropping like a bunch of.
That was me blowing into the bottle.
Okay.
I was trying to do something. I felt like.
I was like, it sounds like someone's dropping like pipes or something, and air is rattling through the pipes.
I'm sorry,
dude. Right. You got a drummer. You should bring your sticks and hit on the bottles.
I didn't even see you do that. I was like, dude, your bass sounds terrible.
We're not cutting any more shit out, so this is just how this is going.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Oh yeah. Well, the earth is flat. Yeah, the earth is flat. You'd believe it if your government told you that. Oh yeah. Okay, something that's still wrong.
It sounded good to me.
Did it? I feel like we just hit chaos right there. Oh yeah. Well, my mama is watching. Yeah, my mama is watching. You better be careful the way you are talking. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let's take it down low. Didn't we used to say something else here?
Disorder all over. Disorder all over. It's time to get your house in order. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was one. Did we already tell him that the earth was flat?
Yeah.
Because the government told him that?
All right. All right. Okay, I got it.
Okay.
Right here.
Okay. All right.
Socialism sucks. Socialism sucks. It's just here to steal my land and take all my bucks. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, good grief.
That was fucking.
So what are we gonna talk about today?
Everything. We're gonna talk about everything.
Let me say something. Welcome to the mouth of York.
Sorry.
Here with me, I have Steve, the extremist Easlon.
I'm here.
To my left, I have Bradyn Westbrook.
Hello.
And me, the mouth of York. Us, the mouth of York. We could do sponsors. We can show you stuff. But once we told them the combination of tonight's podcast, they decided to drop out immediately.
As they should.
Okay.
I'm going to say some problematic shit.
I threatened them.
If I had a career, I'd be canceled, but I don't have a career, so fuck you guys.
Hey, it's the best position to be in.
Yeah. I kind of sort of have one of those.
Yep.
What careers?
Yeah.
Can't imagine.
I got something that
I don't know. I'm blessed. I shouldn't talk shit. I'm blessed with my life.
I could lose my job tomorrow and it'd probably be a blessing. So,
well, yeah.
In that sense, yeah.
You look like you're ready to fucking buy some land and get shot at by the ATF, I think.
That's pretty much the life goal. That's what we're shooting for.
Yep. Well, so that's tonight's podcast, everybody.
Fuck the ATF. Okay.
It's pronounced AFT.
Fuck the ATF in Minecraft.
Yeah. That's what we're talking about.
It's pronounced AFT.
You guys don't jump to conclusions or nothing.
Oh, it is not ATF. What is ATF? Never mind. Okay,
No,
I'm
it
already
is
derailing the
ATF.
podcast. I'm sorry.
It is ATF.
Alcohol, tobacco, and fun.
So, Bradyn.
You want to shoot a gun? Can I shoot a gun right now?
Right now?
We were thinking about that.
Into my own skull. I'm just kidding.
We're thinking. Jeez, that was dark.
It was dark.
Damn. Here we go.
I'm just kidding, dude.
Here we go.
I don't want to kill myself.
Not yet, at least. Not. It has
If
to be
I go
suicide by ATF, right?
Yeah, I'm going out like Hunter Thompson. I'm going to bring my entire family to my house, and then I'm going to send them to the grocery store, and then I'm going to...
Oh. But they all knew he was going to do it.
Yeah, he all told them.
Yeah.
That's a way to go out.
He told him years before. He was like, I'm going to murder myself. Or no, actually didn't. He did. He said, I'm going to murder myself if George Bush gets elected president.
Is
right?
that what he said?
That's what I've heard.
My philosophy
What am I
is
supposed to look up?
seeing... You can look up Hunter S. Thompson's suicide.
Yeah, why did he die? Reason of killing himself.
But
because
he like said it years before.
it was either because George Bush was going to be president or he just set that date.
My whole thing is like I've seen, older family members grow old to the point where I feel like modern medicine has kept them alive past the point of like, where you start, dementia runs in my family basically is what I'm getting at. And, man, if that were me, put me down like a dog.
I shouldn't have taken any of that medicine.
Well, I don't know, man. That's not any existence to me. Like, I'd rather be fucking put down in like the prime of my life rather than fucking, I don't know. And I don't know what it's
better to
like.
burn
But
out
from
than
the
fade
outs-
away. Is that what you're saying?
Yep. What's that lyric from?
That's from Def Leppard. It's better to burn out than fade away.
Yeah, it's been a couple. songs.
Let's start a fire. Something like that.
That one-armed drummer, dude.
Yeah.
Just going nuts with the pedals. What you got for us, Caleb?
Blurry images.
Cora. Fuck Cora, dude.
Yeah, I don't know what's... this is the first thing.
Hunter S. Thompson suicide wiki, maybe. I know Wikipedia, like, is a problematic source or whatever, but it gives you the gist of things, and it links the sources, which is killed himself because he got bored. Relatable. That's
Probably why.
Don't kill yourself, people.
Yeah.
You're better off on the earth than you are. Not
And you might burn in eternity.
Yeah.
If you do.
Yeah.
It's a possibility.
I wouldn't. I don't know.
I think that's the one thing you're not supposed to do.
Right? Yeah. That's like the ultimate disrespect of the gift of life.
I mean, you got life,
Not
and
just-
it is a gift. I like what you just said.
Mhm.
It's a freaking gift. You
And
wake
the thing
up every
is,
day.
man, I've been there. Like, I know what it's like to feel like life is pointless. So I don't hold that against anybody that's made that decision. But
I don't either, because the whole entire system's trying to get us to believe that.
The best description I've ever heard of that is it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And
Yeah.
that's what kept me here.
They're going
is
to kill
knowing that
themselves, and they're going to go,
Pain is
oh,
temporary.
wait, we
Pain
live
is weakness leaving the body.
forever,
Football
for
coach told me
real?
that.
They're going to get up there, and they're going to go, so we live forever, and now I'm here, and I was there.
What if
And
it's...
everybody here's trying to get there?
Yeah.
Oh.
What if the afterlife is just another dimension? You just wake up and there's 5 dimensions instead of 4, and you're just like, all right.
We might be
Whatever the fuck
in
that
the
means.
lowest level
Well,
of
no,
heaven,
no.
highest level of hell right now. That could be
Heaven-
where we at.
You want to get real deep right off the bat?
Let's do it.
I think that heaven and hell is in the mind. I don't...
Well, of course.
Well, yeah.
That's what I
think
mean.
it's
That's
how
the
you live your
difference
life.
between the flesh and spirituality. And period,
Mhm.
is your mind is more powerful than all this matter around you.
That's very true. And I didn't believe in spirituality for the longest time. My girlfriend, I should call her my fiance. We've been dating for like 10 years, but I don't know. I've been holding off buying a ring, I guess. I just want to buy the right one. But
How long?
10 years.
Damn.
We got together right after I graduated, like the fall that I started going to college after high school.
I lasted 7. So
Oh, yeah. But I forgot where I was going with that. I was
Sorry.
just thinking, no, you're good. I just got distracted just thinking about how blessed I am to have, the woman I have in my life. I think everybody should have. I don't know.
Shout out.
You two guys
Special
can
shout out.
relate. Like, there's
Dude.
something about finding your
if
soulmate.
I didn't
that-
have my woman, I'd be in a van down by the river. Down by the river. I'm telling you right now, that's where I'd be.
I would be there right with you, fucking grilling hot dogs
Yep.
and living in. I would say paradise, but it's not paradise because
It'd be terrible.
We'd be lonely.
We'd
After
be
the sun
wiping
went,
our
after the sun
butts.
went down, we'd go sleep in our vans and start
With leaves.
jerking off or whatever the fuck we do. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
terrible. Is that-
Bleep that out. Bleep that out.
No, there's no cutting.
Nah. Yeah.
I just being real though. Like,
Yeah, I know.
Women are a gift from God or the universe or whatever you want to call it.
Hopefully,
they
we're
should be
not
cherished.
judged at the end when we die and we get up to a gate and the guy's like, "Looks like you jerked off a lot, brother. You're not going to be able to go on to the next level. I'm sorry."
Yeah, we gotta send you back.
Can I
Can't
go back
contain
there?
yourself down there. You ain't gonna contain
you'll
yourself.
be reborn
in here.
as a flamingo. Or
Everybody's
a fucking
naked and then
koala
has
bear or some
wings.
bullshit.
Okay, you just can't. You'd be on the streets, the golden streets. We can't have ejaculation on the golden streets.
Semen is bad, kids.
Statistically, you've jerked off so many times that you're going to jerk off in heaven. We can have that.
Oh, Jesus Christ. We fucking...
Jesus Christ, indeed. Yeah, Jesus Christ, indeed.
You think Jesus
Indeed.
Christ
That's
ever jerked
my
off?
answer.
No,
You sure about that?
Yeah.
never.
You're never sure about it? I said yeah.
Well, listen. No, I'm sure that he never
Not
did.
exactly sure
Because
that he never smoked weed, though.
because
Oh,
he,
the burning bush, brother.
he wasn't
You
like
gotta
us, guys.
Burn the bush.
Yeah, he was.
He was God.
Unless you're employed.
So it's kind of a difference between that, us and God. So
True.
he doesn't need to jerk off. He created jerking off. He fucking put that sensation in your brain
Because
so
he was bored.
at that point. Why would he do it?
Nah, I
He
don't.
said, I don't
He,
want to
he
jerk
just
off.
think he was
created it so
bored.
he would keep procreating and
True.
live on. That's
You
the
ever-
only reason he did that.
You ever seen a monkey in the zoo jerking off?
Yeah.
That's when I really made some connections about human evolution.
Like, damn
I
it.
was like, dude.
Hey, dude,
He's-
you watch enough monkey videos, you're like,
I've seen my dog
Listen.
jerk off.
What?
Like, yeah.
really?
Oh, bruh.
Yeah.
I don't
I
even
think
wanna
I've
go-
seen my
They
chihuahua.
just suck
do
their
it.
I don't
own
even want to talk about what I've
wieners.
seen, man.
But they do it.
Bro, yeah, we maybe should change the subject.
Yeah.
Or
I'm sorry.
we can
okay.
keep going.
Disclaimer.
When your dog seems like he's cleaning his leg or butthole for a long time, yeah, that's not what he's doing, man. He's fucking jerking himself off. That's what he's doing.
God, Lisa,
I would-
you already know where I'm going with this.
I would
If you
like to
could, would you?
apologize to the listeners
What?
for derailing this.
If I could jerk off?
Yeah, like that. Would you?
No.
No,
No, I wouldn't
You
do
don't
it.
think so?
No, I've tried it. It doesn't work out, okay?
No, but that's because you can't.
Yeah.
You can only jerk off after you get married. That's the rule.
Oh,
But
right?
you can only jerk off 2 pictures of your wife.
Exactly.
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 Yeah, I think that's legal.
That's all I've ever done.
If I could do that.
All right.
Yeah.
So, and I do that.
Look, dude.
Where's the segue, boys? I'm sorry. I started talking about jerking off.
It's off in the corner.
Look, jerking off is the bottom subject that leads to every other subject in the world.
True.
We will eventually get on the Federal Reserve. Don't worry.
Okay. Let's try to go
Let's just
straight.
let's
try to
stay
go-
on jerking off as long as we can.
Okay.
Okay.
I can do it for a while.
Yeah.
I can stay on jerking off for a while.
I've done it for a long time.
I would like to
well
jerk off
experienced.
Jerome Powell.
Who's
What?
that?
He's the head of the Federal Reserve.
Oh.
Oh.
Jerk off to him or on him?
No, jack him off.
Oh.
And I would
Okay.
print that sweet
Okay,
money
so
all
here's
over
the
my face.
crossover.
Yeah, okay. See, I've never
Straight
had
into the
feelings
Federal Reserve.
like that.
Money is meaningless. Print as much of it as you want. Everybody rich. Fuck everything.
Yeah.
That's my philosophy.
Just give me
or you
enough
could
to afford land and a house.
Yeah, yeah.
And all the things that I have to get from the system.
True. Either just give me the money to acquire it, or the 40 acres, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, just
one of the two.
Or don't give me anything and just stop giving other people things. and the people will just give each other things and we'll be good. Y'all can just go away.
Well,
That's
yeah.
we
I
started
mean,
selling land, and then it became weird. And now, I don't know if you guys have looked into this, but the whole BlackRock situation, and there's a lot of like institutional investment firms that are buying up houses, and it's not like all of the houses yet, but it's heading in that direction, because what COVID did, everybody lost their jobs. Everybody was forced to go on unemployment, which I agree, like handout culture is toxic, and we should instead be, not to say that handouts are bad, but I think if you give people assistance where it's needed, allow them to get a job to help them, the Martin Luther King quote I was telling you about was, it's a cruel jest to say to a bootless man to pull himself up by his bootstraps. My philosophy is, let's give boots to the bootless so that everybody, we all rise together instead of this fucking oligopoly plutocracy where fucking Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and Bill Gates and who's the fourth one? Mark Zuckerberg. Those are the 4 richest people on earth. and it's
Look at that up.
just a mind fuck. Yeah, look up like the 10 or
Four
okay,
richest.
I say on Earth.
Say the richest people on Earth in order.
I'm not
so.
talking about the Saudi, because there's I don't know.
Well, I
There's
even kind of want to talk about him. How is he not connected in any
Oh,
way?
and-
Can we get a
what I mean?
list? Who's
They-
the actual rich? Is it
or richest
Jeff
people in the
Zucker?
world? Yeah, because I'd like
Jeff
to know.
Bezos.
I think I was talking about strictly Americans, and I said the world, but I could be right on that too. I'm not sure. I know they're like the top 4
Because
though.
look, I guarantee there's someone we don't even know that the world doesn't know about that's richer
So
than them.
apparently,
Well, Warren Buffett's right after Zuckerberg or whoever's in 4th, and then it's Richard Branson maybe.
okay, here's a nice little.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos. Okay,
Jeff
so
Bezos is
here's
the
the
richest
thing.
person. Yeah, don't kill him.
Don't let him
That's
live.
the homie.
Live and let live. But okay, so here's my deal with like big business. I love small business. Every time I've worked for a small business, they've always been accommodating. Like and during COVID, I worked for a small business. We got paycheck protection money. I was able to like afford groceries and things because of that. Like social welfare shit for small businesses. The problem is a lot of big businesses took that money and then turned around and laid people off, which they were not supposed to do in order to get that money. And they did it through some loophole. But so I don't know, it's a weird problem where like the smaller companies are the ones that are keeping their employees hired. Maybe not 100% of the time, but the bigger companies are the ones that can afford, accountants or whatever to find the loopholes and lay people off even though they're not supposed to. So at the end of the day, it was just a big upward wealth transfer to fucking
Like every bailout.
those people. Elon Musk, what is that? Bernard. Okay, see, that's somebody I didn't. Oh, they're in France. Okay, so yeah. I think the list I was
Probably
looking
the
at,
Rockefellers.
Yeah, I don't. And yeah,
They
man,
changed
it's
their
just-
names.
this wealth has been acquired for generations and generations, and
But-
not even with Bezos is the thing. Like he started Amazon as a book company, like kind of a small business type of deal. The problem is it's now a fucking monopoly.
Yeah.
And we can talk about government regulation. The thing is, I think government is a weapon to be used, and the problem is we put sociopaths in charge that turn that weapon against the working class.
Here's an idea.
Mhm.
Let's get rid of government.
Anarchism. Okay,
Let's get rid of the
I'm
police.
let's get rid of the police.
Let's
police
bring
ourselves
back
as a
dueling
community.
for one. Let's bring back dueling. Let's all carry a pistol. You're responsible.
Somebody's dueling right now.
Yeah, but you're responsible for protecting yourself.
I agree.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Lamb of God, the band?
Yeah.
They have a song called Omerta, and it says something to the effect of like, to whoever shall appeal to the law against his fellow man is either a fool or a coward. For the
Yeah,
what
I've
is
heard
it?
this.
For the assailant shall say to the assassin, if I live, I will kill you. If I die, you are forgiven. Such is the rule of honor.
Yeah.
And dude, man, that's like the anarchist fucking libertarian philosophy in a nutshell. Like, take care of yourself, take care of other people if you feel so inclined. You don't have to. You're not forced to by the government. I believe in taking care of people because it's what healed my broken ass heart as a person. Like, just,
Well, everybody does. It's just no one wants to be forced to do it.
Right,
So
right,
once you're
right.
forced to
That's-
do something,
that's
you
the
no longer
libertarian
want
part.
to do it.
Mhm.
You're like,
that's the libertarian
frig
philosophy
off.
part of my like libertarian socialism. If you want to put me in a box, it's the libertarian socialist box. Like, personal liberty is
So what's the socialism?
the socialism is just giving people who produce the surplus in any given.
But why do you got to call it socialist? Because
Well,
I
we don't
think
have to
the-
call it
I think the
socialist.
libertarian covers it.
Well-
'Cause it's like let everybody do what everybody wants. But
Right, right,
like
right.
I
But the
said,
problem-
that guy's going to grow a field of corn and have enough corn for his family
Mm-hmm.
and have a surplus of corn that he has to get rid of.
Right.
And he's going to need other things. There's no reason to call it socialism. It's just
And we don't-
producing and
right.
selling.
We
to
can disagree
yourself.
on like the socialism aspect, but my thing is to use the analogy of the farmer. We live in a society where the farmer is bought out by a billionaire.
Yeah.
It then gets turned into like a factory farm, which is not really good for the environment because
Well,
it's not meant to be used on that
billionaire
scale.
goes,
We've-
hey, you have to use my genetically modified seed.
Well,
And that doesn't produce
And-
new seed for next year. So next year you have to also buy my seed again.
I've never looked into that. Is that true?
Yeah, it does not produce seed because it's genetically modified.
And-
because God created the original, and the original produces seed, and man created the next
And
one that doesn't.
I've heard the argument that we produce more food because of GMOs, and who knows, man, that could be propaganda. My whole thing is like I visualize a world where people grow their own food, or we shop at like farmers markets or small businesses. We're not always going to fucking Walmart or shopping at some giant corporation where their employees are paid bare minimum or they can barely keep their head above water just so we can get cheap fucking apples or whatever. And we can talk about food deserts. Like, are you familiar with that term? Food deserts? Okay, so like...
Where we're at?
Well, no, yeah, basically, because all of the farms have been acquired, like we were talking earlier about Jeff Bezos buying up, farmland, Bill Gates buying up farmland, because they know that shit's going to only increase in value. And capitalism is what has caused all of these rich people to acquire all this land, take it from farmers, and now it's being, instead of a dude taking care of his family, you have a billionaire who's basically exploiting the earth's resources to enrich himself. And at the same time, like there's people that don't have access to like nutritional food, like because there's not, diverse like agriculture across the country. We have it concentrated in like very small areas. And that does a lot to the environment, like with irrigation and stuff, like because we're not all growing our own food, and I know it's hard to go from a state of dependence on corporations and factory farming and all this stuff, and like evolve into a more of like what we had in like the early 1900s, more of a self-subsistence, like homestead lifestyle. I think we can combine like the best things of the 21st century and the best things of the early 20th century. To create like the just chef's kiss, not utopia. I'm not like a utopiast, but sorry, I've been fucking going forever. Y'all can tell me whatever you think.
No,
I know y'all probably disagree with some of it.
I was gonna ask you. So you stated a problem. These billionaires buying up all this farmland,
right?
Because they're billionaires.
And that's just to touch back real quick. I promise I'm not going to interrupt for too long because I listened to the podcast that I did with you last time. And I have no social skills, and I will just like talk over people because I'm so excited to like just talk to people, I guess. But the buying up of the land is a side effect of capitalism, because capital is money. You get to capitalize on decades of wealth accumulation to buy this land that used to be owned by people like yourself, people that want to just live off the land and not necessarily live in all this excess and luxury and bullshit. Like I'm saying, people have the freedom to pursue luxury and excess if that's what they want, but not if it's unethical, not if it relies on the exploitation of other people. But sorry, I'll let you.
Well, I was going to ask you, I was going to say we pointed out a problem. You got these monopolies buying up everything, okay?
And that is a byproduct of the government intervention. In
which we're touching, right? When we talk about that, we're touching on the after effect, okay? Because the root of the problem started long before that,
right?
Okay, why did these become monopolies? I mean, in the first place, is because for one, they lobbied,
right?
Politicians.
And I think lobbying should be illegal.
These small town grocery stores were not thinking about lobbying politicians to shut their competitors down,
right? They were just worried about taking care of their employees,
exactly. So wait,
providing the best product possible.
How do you get a politician that can,
it wouldn't be a
that
politician,
can change
it'd be something else.
Well, I'm just saying, how can these politicians change our laws like that?
Well, that's a good question. If you can answer it, you could probably fix this country. My thing is, if I could just quickly word vomit, ranked choice voting. So instead of having to choose between, say, for me as a democratically minded person, the Democratic primary ticket was so split. They manufactured a bunch of candidates to try to get anybody they could to not vote for Bernie. And basically, ranked choice voting is, this is my first choice candidate, this is my second choice candidate, this is my third choice candidate, this is my fourth choice candidate, so on and so forth. And through that, you get a more accurate depiction of like who's actually most representative of the population as a whole. Does that make sense? Because like, say, I don't know, I'm trying to think how to put this into words, but say like so many people put Bernie in number 1, and then so many people put Andrew Yang in number 2, but more people put Andrew Yang in number 1 in a different part of the country. So like those second votes for Andrew Yang add up. So, I mean, you get like a greater...
it's like a delegates.
And I think the Electoral College should be abolished. I think we should live in a direct democracy, not 100%, because there are times where you want to resort to like expert opinion on things, like COVID, for example. And I know that that's a problematic topic. We can get into that. I think COVID was a get rich quick scheme.
Yes.
Not to say that it was a fake virus or that the vaccine is bad. Y'all can disagree with me, but I don't think we have the full story on that. But yeah, I'll let you
like
go.
I was saying before, you have problems that have stemmed. It's like a tree,
Exactly.
and every leaf is a problem. Okay,
And we have to get to the root problem.
We got to see who fucking planted that tree. Go fucking kill him.
Well,
Okay, so what I'm saying is, why can politicians change this stuff? And okay, you said you want to get rid of the Electoral College for one. The whole point when we were built as a country, okay, they said, look, we have these 13 colonies. We're going to have these 13 colonies here, okay, and we're going to have this Constitution, right? This Constitution lays the ground rules for the government, not for us.
Right.
It doesn't lay the ground rules for us. It lays the ground rules for the government. It says, look, government, you can't fuck with them in these ways. Bam. You can't raise their taxes unless they say that these taxes can be raised. So that's if they want to fix their roads, they want to do this stuff.
Without
if they
representation,
think it is
right.
a problem. Well, it's these 13 states. So in the beginning, we had a Constitution. And no matter what this state voted for, it wouldn't change what was happening in this state. This state had to vote for it. So you want to get rid of Electoral College, which makes it a democracy, okay? Because we're not supposed to be a democracy in America. We're supposed to be a republic. Where,
I think
where
democracy is
states,
good.
I don't think it is good because, for one, we can see how the machine that we're fighting against can control the majority.
And
if you want those crazy brainwashed people who have been through the public school system, who watch the frickin' CNN and all the frickin' ads, and they're all in it, you want those people to decide your children's fate. Well, I'm sorry, but you know what? You know, my hometown, my state, we're going to vote differently, and I'm very thankful for the Constitution that it hasn't been taken away that far yet. Because the day that we lose the Electoral College is the day they win 100%. And all these crazy places in the world, California, Washington, D.C., there's way more people. So if democracy was the thing, these crazy radicals in these cities that want to teach all this transgender bull crap to your kids and want to indoctrinate you and take away the family, those would be the people that are running your country. I mean, everything. That's the reason why we still have some type of freedom here, is because we have states' rights. We have it to where we have an electoral college. That's why, and it still kind of goes on the population. You know, you only get a certain amount of votes per population of your state. But I'm just saying, states' rights is the only thing that's kept us free to this point. If we did not have states' rights, we would literally be living in Canada right now, where they're training Chinese military, and you can't leave your house unless you scan your phone, and you can't go to the bar, and you can't do anything you want to do right now.
Unless Big Brother checks in.
Unless Big Brother says you
one
can't.
Thing. Okay, so you talked about freedom, and the thing is, I've noticed, I listen to a lot of conservatives talk. I've watched a lot of debates and stuff, and the thing is, I feel like left-minded people like myself and conservatives, and I don't mean to put y'all in a box. Like, I know y'all are free-thinking individuals. The thing about the transgender issue and the gay issue or whatever, I don't think anything of that is being pushed on people. You may disagree. I think it gets talked about on right-wing media like it is. And to be honest, I haven't been to school in fucking 10 years. So
it's
I mean,
being
I went
pushed.
to college.
It's being pushed.
It's being pushed
If
by
you go-
every
if-
corporation.
Do you have Amazon Prime?
I don't.
Show them that stuff that was on Nickelodeon the other day.
The thing is,
Nickelodeon, the stuff that we used to watch when we were kids, is now advertising LGBT fucking drag queen shit to little kids, man. I was watching that when I was a little kid. Man, if a little kid, you want to, children, okay, you think a man dressed up like a woman? I mean, I don't give a shit about this politically correct stuff. I will fucking, I don't give a crap about it. You cannot shame me in that way.
Right, and I'm not trying to shame. I'm not trying to shame anybody.
No, I know. I'm just
not
saying
a woke
that's
scold,
that's what they do.
These are
is they
important
shame you.
conversations to have. I believe in individual liberty, and if a person wants to change their sexual orientation or their gender,
yeah,
that doesn't concern me,
But,
right? Like,
yeah.
I believe in personal freedom, even if I don't understand.
Honestly, I agree with you 100% because
yeah.
I think if you see that on Nickelodeon, you should stop paying for that TV and get it out of your house. Like, you know, and I agree with you 100%.
And that's, you have every right to do that and raise your kids however you want.
They've brainwashed us, my friend.
But and they're also
they're pushing. I feel like, okay, we're gonna go down a fucking wormhole
Let's
here.
do
I'm
it.
sorry if this derails the conversation.
That's fine.
I believe in the existence of trans people. I think gender dysphoria is a real thing. Y'all might disagree with me. Y'all can call me lib cucks if you want. I will laugh with you. The thing is, and I used to think differently. I used to think that trans people, you know, I used to listen to Jordan Peterson, and he would say that trans people are mentally ill or whatever. And that, you know, I just I don't know. Whatever makes a person happy, I'm not going to stand in the way of that. It doesn't affect me. Even if it's something I don't understand and I've never experienced myself, I think we should all have the freedom. Now, you talk about like the pushing of the LGBT shit. The thing is, like, Pride Month was last month, right?
Uh-huh.
So all these corporations, this corporate wokeness shit that is really the root of all the division in this country is the corporate wokeness, the fake wokeness, the performative fucking bullshit. They'll put fucking I'm sorry for cursing so much.
No, go ahead. We curse constantly, and we try not to, but do.
So all these corporations will put the little rainbow logo on their
and then once the month
social media.
ends, they take it away.
Exactly, and they don't do that in Russia or China or anything.
But watch,
where none of this is,
it ain't. Look, I don't.
And we can disagree
They've
on
been
this,
taking it away because we gave them a month. They've been taking it away, but they're not going to take it away now. I bet you they're not. Watch, it's over.
And
the month is over, and they're not going to take it away.
More power. The thing is, it's the performative stuff that bothers me. Like, none of these corporations believe in personal rights for people.
Yeah.
You know, they don't care.
They have
don't
factories
care
in
about gay
China.
rights I think whatever, dude, here's the thing. Like, whatever your religion is, whatever your sexuality is, whatever you think your gender is, or not think, like, I'm not trying to say that it's not real, because I believe that it is real. That people don't feel comfortable in their own skin. I want anybody who's not comfortable in their own skin to feel comfortable in their own skin, whether that's, you know, discovering things about yourself, whether that's having a surgery, whatever it takes, because a lot of these transgender people, the suicide rate is ridiculous.
Yeah, because they...
But
I don't think it's because they're getting bullied necessarily when they go out.
And maybe that's not the case. They have...
I think it's because they wake up one day and they go, I cut my dick off.
Well,
and now, not only that, the inside of my fake vagina grows hair, and I have to put this freaking cream on it to get it to stop growing hair. I got to inject myself almost every day with this bull crap because I'm not who I'm trying to be. Naturally, I mean, look, man, they're controlled by the medical world once they get into that shit.
And I'm not trying to say there aren't, like, okay, I believe there are real people that have gender dysphoria. There's also probably a group of people who, you know, heard about it and they were missing something in themselves, so they looked towards this.
There's definitely that.
Dude,
they have girls.
Man, I'm not going to
question
question anybody's identity. I just know this based on my own life experience and looking for identity myself. Is that, you know, you'll whatever.
Yeah.
And I just don't think it does us any good to worry about what other people are doing in that respect. Like, if we don't want to teach our kids about it,
we never worried about it. We never worried about it. People could be gay and all this stuff. We never worried about it until they started putting it on TV, and now it's in the White House, and now it's everywhere. It's on your football, and it's in your freaking military. And you know what it is? It's literally a takeover.
Can I just say that I met today a transgender
They're good people, man.
Who's a mechanic in
They're
the
just
Navy.
regular people. They really are.
I think that group of people, again, I'm perfectly fine with personal liberty.
I'm not trying to woke scold y'all if y'all disagree.
No, because if you really want to follow down to freedom, you're 100% correct.
Right. That's what I believe. We
you're
all should hold individual freedom above all else as long as
if you're a grown-up, look, you can be gay. You can go with whoever you want.
Whatever you want.
That's
the beauty of America, my friend.
But why is the bread company...
okay, so what you're mad at is the corporate wokeness, not necessarily the existence of trans people.
But here's the thing, though.
No one
Here's the thing. Let me say this. Here's the thing. Sure. I see the reason why they're doing it. It's not because they're woke.
To divide us.
It's not even to... It is dividing us is the effect of it, but the whole reason is to take over our freedoms, to get rid of our private property, to get the whole world woke to where we enslave ourselves willingly. That is what it is all about.
I would say true wokeness, not the corporate wokeness, is the true wokeness is in favor of the individual freedom and the fighting back against the system that wants to enslave us. I agree with you. They want to turn us into slaves. That's why all the BlackRock...
Well, that's why they're making us weak. They're turning our men into women and our women into men that are ineffective women. At that point, they're just shells.
We can disagree on this because I don't want to get stuck in like a perpetual disagreement. And I totally respect like whatever you want.
Yeah.
I hope you don't think I'm
No,
trying
no,
to like
we're good.
scold you.
Don't worry about that.
Well, can
My
I
thing-
just say
Mhm.
you're my only problem is there's also a where this connects to me is there's a fight to ban homeschooling too in some of these extreme
I don't
parts of
agree
the
with
country.
that. I don't think we should. I think we should be very careful with what we ban.
It's
That's
happening
an
here in
authoritarian
Texas.
measure, and we
As a
should.
matter of fact,
It's trying to happen here in Texas.
And they're
so
trying.
we can all be like, all right, listen, obviously we disagree on why or whatever.
And here's the thing: you have the freedom to teach your kids however you want. I don't want the state.
yeah,
to
but
be
that's
able
the
to,
thing that we're talking about
Yeah,
is
right,
because
right,
they're
right.
trying to take
I don't
away
want this
that
all
freedom to
happening
teach our
in
kids
I
how
don't,
they want.
I don't want the
So,
state
so
to
at
get in
that
between.
point,
Yeah.
at that point, you're going, okay. So they're not just trying to, they're forcing indoctrination
So
at that
this,
point,
this is how you
forcing
link,
it,
This is how you link COVID.
and
too.
that's how it goes, man. If you say, oh well, they don't want that, these corporations should be able to push this because it's
Can
their
I get
freedom
a
of speech.
cerveza, por favor?
Yeah,
I'll
but
take one as well.
Gracias, gracias.
last two.
Is that,
Last two?
Oh, I got-
There's
there's
more
more
in
in the
the
Okay.
refrigerator too.
But I'm just saying, look, they're coming for you, buddy. And either you wake up and ignore them, ignore the masses' cries saying you're a bigot, you're this, you're that, and you speak truth.
And I'm
truth is truth. And from the very beginning, man and woman are the only things that can get together and create life.
but we
for
agree
the
that the
human
earth,
race.
the Earth is overpopulated, right? So
No,
actually,
I do not agree.
Oh, you don't
I
agree?
do not agree that the Earth is overpopulated. I believe no matter how many people live on this planet, there will be enough resources to provide for them.
if the
And I-
powers that be don't keep those resources in
Exactly.
themselves,
Exactly.
like-
Those are
like
that's
how
the
it
only
is.
shortage that we encounter is when the powers at be hold it from us.
The
Well, 'cause
ruling, I call them
natural-
the ruling class. It's
There's no-
it's succinct. It's accurate. You can call them the elite. You can call them the 1%.
Man does not
Really,
cause
it's-
global warming, in
it's-
my opinion. I think the planet changes. We used to have a frickin' ice age here. Does anybody,
Right.
recall
And That's the
that?
thing. That's
Didn't
the thing.
we have two?
Were we drilling for
And
oil
wasn't
back
there
in
a
the
small
day?
one?
Okay. So let me try to just we can talk about climate change because that's an issue where there's a lot of cognitive
The
dissonance.
climate
between,
changes. We've
It does-
known this.
right, right.
Scientists
It does
can
change.
drill in and see
But
samples from millions of years ago and go, yeah, the climate has definitely changed
Right.
when we weren't even here.
I
you
agree
know?
with that, right? But the thing is, we've only been drilling oil and running. I mean, shit, there's 7 billion people in the world. I don't know how many cars are running, but that wasn't a thing prehistorically.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, though. It doesn't matter because in science, nothing can be created or destroyed. Matter cannot be created or destroyed. So we are not creating or destroying matter. So
Well,
all the oil that we burn will
it's
go
not-
back into the earth, and literally the earth makes oil, man. There's
understand
wells,
that.
there's oil wells that they've drilled back in the 60s and 50s, even that go dry. Okay,
Well, here's
they
the thing.
cap them,
If
and
I
then
could-
they come back 20 years later, and they're full again. The earth replenishes itself.
Well,
We're not
here-
going to run out of oil.
Here's the thing: the
or any
the
of our
problem
resources.
is we're taking oil out of. And I'm not, dude. I have nothing against the oil field.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to get that perfectly clear. My dad.
I have
worked
a lot
his,
against the oil
worked
field.
his and okay, yeah, like
Yeah.
the oil field. It's a dangerous
The
job.
shenanigans and the
Yeah.
corporate.
But I don't
side
have
is what I'm-
anything against people who work in the oil field. I'll say that. My dad worked his ass off at an oil field company and was able to provide for me because of that. He would come home every day after work in a terrible mood and now like having a job myself, like I know how it feels. And I don't even have a kid.
Yeah.
You know, he had me at fucking like 20 or 21.
Dude, I gotta hold back from that sometimes because I get home and I got two girls, and most of
hard,
the time I get home and I'm happy. But every once in a while I get home
You
and
have
I'm
a bad
just
day?
pissed off, like
It's so
and
hard
I cannot
to,
take it out on my kids. Like it's so hard not to.
And
'Cause I just want to be like,
I
get the fuck out of here, leave me alone, you know. But I can't. I gotta be like,
Man,
it's really hard.
If I could get real for a
Hard to do
second,
it every
when
day.
I was living in Denton, me and my girlfriend had an apartment, and I was working for Rent-A-Center, which is basically a company that loans out furniture, TVs, whatever the fuck.
You gotta
poor-
repost stuff, basically.
Yeah, you had to go around to like the poorest people
I've
in
seen
that town,
I've done that with my dad.
and
Not
it
that exact thing.
You know, their kids are sitting there asking like, "Why are you taking the TV?" And it's like, "Well,
Your parents
didn't pay, the bill,
didn't
and-
pay because they've been spending their money on
Yeah.
pot and crack, probably.
Well, and dude, honestly, like everybody's living paycheck to paycheck now, or a lot of people are. Here, we're blessed because this economy is blessed by the oil industry.
I don't know, man. Look, I'm going to speak truth right now because whenever I'm living paycheck to paycheck, it's because of me. Because even whenever I'm living paycheck to paycheck, it's because I went and spent money. I took my family out to eat or something, you know? I did some stupid shit. I went bowling and spent all this fucking money. That's the only time I am living paycheck to paycheck. If I actually budgeted and did my money right, I'd never live paycheck to paycheck. And that's the truth. And even whenever, you know, back in the day when I was living in an apartment, man, I could have saved money. I could have, and I'm not gonna sit here and be like, "Oh, I couldn't have done it, man. I just had to buy that coffee from Starbucks." Like, fuck, no, you didn't, dude. You're not budgeting.
I'm as frugal as they come, brother. I never buy coffee from Starbucks.
Honestly, we live in the best place in the world, and even
I'm not disagreeing.
Even
with
people
that.
can get a job at 7-Eleven and survive. I mean, it fucking sucks.
The thing is, I want people to thrive.
Yeah, but they act like, but you have to survive before you thrive. Okay, I worked in a pipe yard forever, making like $700 a week. You know.
Can I just say one thing to link it to police? I think a police officer should have some form of trade before he get 2 years. You know, what did you used to do? You used to weld? Cool. You can be a police officer. What did you used to do? You're a carpenter? That's cool.
Have
I
some
can
life
see that.
experience
because
you
got to be human, right?
Yeah, like it's
gotta have some humanity in you. But not only that, fuck that, dude. Teach them the fucking Constitution. They better be constitutional experts before they're ever a cop.
And I'll tell you, I'll link it to that because I think once you start to survive and then you thrive, you start to understand why that Constitution.
You know what I think we should do?
nice.
I think we should only hire constitutional lawyers to be police officers. Only the people that can quote this thing without even reading it, having it in front of them. If they can quote this thing and they know it inside and out, that's the only time they can be a police officer.
I thought that's what they were supposed
cops
to
should be
do.
trained in law.
Dude, every cop I've ever talked to, every cop I've ever had a situation with that I've actually tested them on, they don't know nothing. They know nothing about the Constitution. I'm like, why are you stopping me? One cop, and he goes, because you weren't wearing your seatbelt. I'm wearing my seatbelt. I didn't have it over my chest, right? And he's like, well, I couldn't tell, you know, that you were wearing your seatbelt because you didn't have it over your chest. So I was like, well, I am wearing my seatbelt, so have a good day, you know? And he's like, well, I'm going to have to see your ID. And I'm like, why? Because you stopped me for something that I'm not even doing, and we just established that. So you don't need to see my ID, you know? And then they just keep going because they don't know the Constitution. They don't know your rights. They know nothing about you or anything about America, for that matter. They know nothing.
Well, and I think there's a it's tough, dude, because you either have the guy who went through some hell, probably grew up in the hood, and was seeing what crime does to his, you know, his community. So he gets in and he wants to be a police officer, built on ideals and fire underneath his ass.
Well, that's great.
Then
though.
You can have some dudes who were in high school who just like to bully up a bunch of nerds.
Or they got bullied themselves.
Or they got bullied
now
themselves.
They got it in for already
Dude, so that's a two.
That's what I'm saying.
I know
you
good
get into
cops,
the
like-
the police department. You should have to take a test on the Constitution, and they should drill you on everything. I'm sure it should be the hardest fucking test in the world.
I think we can all
unless
agree
you're a constitutional
that
expert.
especially after all this crap. Something has to happen to the vetting process of police officers in the beginning,
dude. At this point, it don't matter, man. We're so fucking gone at this point. It's literally like, let's just wait for the real men to stand up, because at this point we're gone, dude. But no, I agree. If we were in, you know, like maybe 5-10 years ago, then
have you? Okay, so I don't have my phone on me right now, but there was a graph I saw.
He can look up anything you want.
Military, I think it's called a 1033 transfer. It's military surplus that goes to police, and there's a graph from like 20 or early 2000 or mid.
Is this like
2000s,
guns and stuff?
Guns and military equipment going to police. Police militarization. Here's a thing I wrote that sounds fucking brilliant that I'm going to share because it's one of the smartest things I've ever said, and I'm a fucking idiot, so I'm proud of it. But what was it?
Hit it.
If the police are militarizing and the military is policing, you might be living in a late stage capitalist hellscape. And you might disagree with that, but that's what's going on. Is the police are becoming more authoritarian. Our military is being used to control the globe in a globalist economic sense. I know, you know, Alex Jones talks about that. I don't necessarily think globalism, as far as like global cooperation, is a bad thing, but American hegemonic interest controlling the globe, I don't agree with.
Look, if you want my actual opinion,
Right.
I think nukes should drop right now,
Yeah.
and I think we should start over.
Get us out of this.
Yeah, like either Jesus come back.
You're a posidist.
You know?
Are you familiar with the term posidist? So I don't know if it's a meme or an actual ideology, but it's these people that believe the nukes are going to drop and then the dolphin aliens are going to come save us all and we'll live in peace.
I don't believe in dolphin aliens, and I don't think the nukes are going to drop. I think we're going to be in this hell for a long
while.
time.
Yeah. You're
And
probably right.
but all I'm going to do is get my piece of land, build some walls,
That's all you
and
fucking can
live. And whenever they need something from me, I'm going to say, "Go fuck yourself," and
And you
then
have
they're
the-
going to come back with guns.
You have the freedom
and I'm
to
gonna
say, "Go fuck
shoot
yourself,"
them.
though. And you
No, I don't anymore. We have no freedoms anymore. we're living in limbo right now.
Well, you say this is the greatest country of all time, but yet you say we don't have any freedoms anymore. And I understand the cognitive distance between that because we are blessed in a lot of ways. I'm blessed in a lot of ways. I
Well-
hope you guys don't hear me complaining about the economic situation and think that I'm just wanting more money or something. I'm super blessed in my life. I want more people to have what I have, to be able to purchase a house, to be able to, even though I'm barely keeping my head above water, to be honest, like, I want people to be able to experience the blessings that I've had. And I feel like a lot of people have been kept as a perpetual underclass designed for capitalism to flourish. And we can call it whatever you want, like socialism. We don't have to talk about it all because I know that word has been dragged through the mud. And
Look, the
Are you
only
calling-
thing with socialism is when you say the word socialism, that means a gun enforcing it.
that's
Because
authoritarianism.
if there wasn't a gun enforcing socialism and socialism was happening, we wouldn't even have a name for it.
Okay, so
it would just be
here's
life.
the
like
thing that I
normal
disagree with
life.
you
You
on.
know what I mean?
Right. Well, here's the thing I disagree with you on. So the holding a gun to you, that's authoritarianism or totalitarianism. So think of the USSR.
I mean, that's literally what's happening in every law that's ever written right now on you.
And we're more of a police state than most people like to realize. We criticize the USSR, and we should. It was a police state. You couldn't dissent from the government, or you were thrown in a fucking gulag.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm against, and I feel like there's a lot of those same qualities in our government. And people call it communist. I wouldn't call it communist. I would call it authoritarian, totalitarianism, or whatever fucking ism you want to put on it. The problem is we're closer to the USSR than we are to any socialist republic or whatever that's ever existed.
Did the USSR get brought up on a crony capitalistic system? Or
Well, okay,
did it-
so here's the way I describe it. Karl Marx gets dragged through the mud like socialism, okay? Marx loved freedom more than
right,
anything.
he wanted to
and he
go-
criticized capitalism more than he suggested an alternative to capitalism.
He almost he's associated with inventing the term capitalism.
Well, and that's the thing.
We didn't have a word
Marx
for
was able to see so
So
far
it's
into the
just life.
future because like he wrote about all the things that are happening at Amazon, all these corporations where people are being fucking, they have shitty ass working conditions. They're really not being paid enough to keep up with inflation, and it's
Right.
all for the sake of Jeff Bezos's or whoever's profits.
But I mean, his bottom line in his manifesto, right off the rip, he talks about getting rid of private property.
Getting rid of private
so
property.
Here's where, and I don't agree with Marx 100% on that. I believe in private property for individuals, not for corporations. The thing is, how many?
I kind of agree with that.
I agree with. Okay, so think
Once
about
you want to corporatize and you're that big, I mean,
that's
I don't. But
capitalism.
hold on, I don't want the government though. I don't want to be renting property from the government because that once again puts the giant corporation right in league with the government.
Okay.
So look, we have big problems and stupid solutions.
Exactly.
Okay, and the real solution is independence. Okay, so I was going to ask you earlier. We have all these problems with all these big corporations buying up all this land and
Right.
stuff. What would you do right now
Okay.
as president? You're president right now.
Shit.
What are you going to do?
I'm gonna blow my brains out.
Okay. What are you going to do as president? You
okay,
have
so-
all the power. Your
Here's
mouth
what-
is the
But
word.
you
All right.
don't.
Speak it.
No, hold on.
You don't have all the power.
Well,
I
okay,
don't, I
let me
don't. But
rephrase
if
it.
I
You're a
did-
Democratic president, and you control all of the fucking system.
not in America?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, like
Go
Okay.
ahead.
A dictator?
Yeah,
First-
you're a dictator.
First order of business.
You're Joe Biden. Go ahead.
90% marginal tax rate on anybody that owns more than $10 billion. $10 billion.
So tax the rich.
Tax the rich. That's what FDR did. He taxed the
super
rich at
rich.
90%. If you want to, you can pull up tax rates from 1900s to now. Also pull up wages versus productivity from 1900s to now, because there's a very interesting thing. The thing is, the government wants to tax working people like us more than the wealthiest people in society. In Texas, The poorest 20% of income earners pay 4.19 times more than the wealthiest 1% of earners.
Okay, what was the second
as a share
thing?
of income.
Before you get too crazy, what was the second thing? I got
Productivity versus wages. Like 1900 to present or something. I don't know. Oh, you're good. There's a graph. And this is what I was going to talk about with Reagan, because as much as Reagan gets talked about as like a conservative, he was really neoliberal. And our entire government is neoliberal in the sense that corporations should run everything. You know, I believe that there is a boot that is on our neck that is the boot of like big business. I also think big government is another boot that we should keep off of our neck. The problem is these two boots are like melded into one now. And that's what capitalism does, is it melds the government and actually fascism more accurately.
Yeah, I mean,
because Hitler, that's where all that stuff, we adopted some of the worst parts in Nazi ideology post World War II.
It's tough with words and terms because, I mean, again, it doesn't actually say that Karl Marx coined the term capitalism, but he's definitely associated with it. We didn't have a very good name. But I'll say one thing. You cannot have, and world history shows, you cannot have no slaves and no capitalism. You know, without that's what brought slavery.
I would say capitalism is slavery.
Abolished it.
Not for everybody. Not for everybody. But right. Okay, so we were talking about
not in a actual free market. But anyhow.
So to get back to something we were talking about earlier, we were talking about how like the lower end jobs of society, the McDonald's, the whatever stuff that should be filled by young people who don't have a lot of working experience. The problem is you have a lot of like people who have retired. Their social security has evaporated because of the greed of people like fucking Jeff Bezos, the ruling class.
Shouldn't have ever bought into Social Security
hedge
in the first
funds.
place.
Well, yeah. And I agree. Like, I think we should all like prioritize individual responsibility, individual freedom. But we're in a system where all of that is very hard to achieve for a lot of people. Well, look, and my thing is, I want to help the people that don't have the availability to like.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in the world right now that we need to help.
And
but it doesn't matter anything if we don't fix the root problem.
Exactly.
The root problem is government. Period.
But
I'm not.
I'll also say,
control.
Even if you're poor, how do you not have freedoms?
Well, okay, so freedom to healthcare, for example. I believe healthcare
there's no freedom to healthcare. Who in the world would ever think like, okay, let's just think about like, let's go back to caveman days.
Yeah.
Okay, caveman days.
You think the shaman charged somebody money for a healing process?
No, because they were their friends.
Exactly. We should view each other as friends.
You've already provided the shaman with something before. Y'all are in a community together.
And it was a fair trade.
But the world isn't that. The world isn't like that anymore. We're not a community anymore. You don't know your neighbors. You don't know where the people that are around you anymore. You're not a community.
Right, and I agree that that's a problem.
That's the whole problem. That's the entire problem right there, is the fact that you don't know your neighbors. The fact that your neighbors don't want to know you.
And I think this ties to another thing. Like if you had a doctor friend and he wanted to treat you, legally, he gets screwed if he just, treated you in here and say we had a doctor friend and he worked on me on something or whatever.
Like Trailer Park Boys. Have you seen Trailer Park Boys?
Yes.
Yeah.
When the veterinarian like gets the bullet out of somebody and he loses his license or whatever.
But that's a problem. That's from
government. Right.
And
that's authoritarian government.
And
I believe in a libertarian
there's
government.
Genres almost of where the big corporation is actually what's doing like a reverse fascism thing, and then we have an actual where the government is overtaking a genre, and genre pharmaceutically speaking, that is a problem because of government in my opinion, and which is why I don't think healthcare is a right.
Yeah, so I don't think it's a right either. I think it's
you can. And here's my thing: like I don't even. Like, if you want to pay for healthcare, that's fine. The problem is people know that healthcare is a necessity. And they place, like, okay, so...
See, that's the word it is. Not a right. It's a necessity.
Our tax dollars fund the research that develops all of these prescription drugs. And then the pharmaceutical companies come in and buy the patents to it, or the rights, or whatever. And then they fucking skyrocket the price. So they paid nothing for the information that led to the development of these drugs, but they profit off of all of it. That's corporate... or what did Martin Luther King said? He said, it's socialism for the rich, rugged individualism for the poor. My thing is, I want people who need that same help that fucking Elon Musk gets, that all these corporations get. There was $5 trillion. I mean, more than $5 trillion, but it in like the span of a month or something, $5 trillion went to the wealthiest people in the country.
Yeah, because you're being sold out.
Exactly. And I don't disagree with that. We're being sold to corporations who own the government.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Look,
I don't want them to get help. I don't want me to get help.
What would you do, Caleb,
I
if
want
you were
help.
president right now?
You're
What would you do to fix the problem?
If I was president,
if you were president,
I would just, first of all, this is, I would get assassinated. But that's because I will just learn stuff, and I'll literally just be like, this is what's happening, guys.
If we could get back to this.
Listen, this is what's happening. Blah, 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 blah. This is what's happening. And then give it about a week, I'll be dead. But anyhow, so this right here is what you're referencing.
Yeah, okay,
90,
so
90%.
Income tax receipt of GDP, top marginal tax rate. Okay, so back in like the early 1900s, where does that graph start?
That's 1950.
1950. Okay, so
Sorry,
post World
blow
War
it up.
II, we were taxing the rich at 90%. And a top marginal tax rate means the wealthiest people of society are paying this tax rate, not people like us. The problem is government needs revenue to operate. And I know we can disagree on, you know, the efficacy of government. But the problem is, okay, so here, notice how productivity and wages were linked up until 1973, I believe. It was the Nixon-Reagan era. And that's where we started to see a decoupling. And workers became more productive as a result of like increases in technology. However, they were paid less, and as inflation increased, now, you know, you can't live like you used to. Like we were talking about earlier.
So what do you need to do when you're the president? First thing you need to do,
Tax the rich.
abolish the Fed. Fuck
Abolish the
tax
Fed.
the rich. Abolish the Fed and make our money worth something again. Put us back on a gold standard. We got all that gold sitting in the safes right now. The government has just compiled all that gold. I mean, tons. We've even invaded other countries and just taken their gold. How much gold did we get from the Nazis? How much gold did we get from the Iraq War? We got tons
That's the thing.
of it.
I feel like the powers that be have kept all of the real wealth.
Yeah.
And now we're off of the gold standard, and now we've all got this shit that's basically worthless, but we're all pretending that it's worth something.
Well, it's backed up by bombs.
And we're all, I mean, a lot of us are kept in a perpetual I mean, I'd say anybody that makes under like $250,000 a year is kept in a perpetual underclass. I know that sounds absurd. I mean, there's different living standards for different areas, but
I don't know. I feel like if I had 250, I'd already have another side business that I put money
but you got to
into.
pay rent on that land because some fucking billionaire owns it, and he's going to charge you out the ass every month.
I mean, just like, here's the good thing about internet is I just sell it from here.
Mm-hmm. And I agree. That's the good thing about
I had land, which I do, and if I have more land where I'm going, because I'm now thinking of my future, and I'm gonna be on some acreage, dude.
And yeah,
I think actually self-sustainable.
I think everybody should have the freedom to acquire land. That's my thing.
Regardless of here's where I'll
look. That's
agree.
why we got a boy in Oregon right now, and he's Blue Boy. I talk to Blue Boy all the time, and the only thing me and Blue Boy differ on is the fact that he loves Oregon because of all the government-owned land. You know, it's public land.
And I agree with that because we can't go fishing anywhere.
But that's
here.
the great thing. That's the thing, man. Life isn't about fishing, okay? Life's about freedom
that's a
and
metaphor,
property. But I'm just saying he loves it because, he can go fishing, he can go climbing mountains and doing all this stuff.
Freedom, you would say.
But it's not freedom, though. It's not freedom at all. It's
because the government owns it, it's not freedom?
It's not, absolutely not. They can put any rules on it. They own it.
True.
But during this
you gotta have a
frickin'
permit to go
pandemic,
fishing.
you had to have a freaking mask in the state park. It's not freedom. If you don't own it, dude.
I'm sorry.
Look, it's so simple, man. If you don't own it, if you can't have if you can't, look, you can put a price on land, especially whenever you look at the population. You can literally take the population and say, and sum up the whole world and say, this is what it costs for an acre of land on this planet. You can sum that up very easily. And if you don't have the right to buy that acreage, if the government says, okay, and I understand, look, I'm totally down for certain places being owned and saying, hey,
That's
you can't
all I'm
touch this
arguing
for the
right?
wildlife.
Right, that's all I'm arguing for.
But I also want that to be up to the people because
Exactly.
the government can take
100%.
advantage of that. But I'm just saying, okay, so there are situations where every factor applies somewhere. Okay? But I'm just saying, like places in Oregon, when you can't own this acreage, like you can here in Texas. Because I'll tell you one thing, I can own shit in Texas. And you say, well, now we can't go hunt anywhere. That's bullshit, dude. You call up these people that own this land. You can find a way to go hunt somewhere. It's they're so massive. But you will find a way.
Okay, so my argument against that would be like, imagine a world where there's public hunting land, and I know that sounds
public hunting land. That sounds like a good thing the government should be involved in.
And public hunting, public fishing. We should help people get back. You don't
think so?
I mean, and maybe not the government involved. Just the people decide this land is reserved for all of us as citizens of this state.
People
or
are
this
supposed to be the government. By
exactly. Yeah, and that's what I think we agree on. Is our government used to be run by farmers, by working people, and granted, like
but now farmers and working people are all racist. So
their
opinion doesn't matter
saying
anymore.
That. I'm not, but it's society. Mainstream media says that. A lot
mainstream
of people
media
don't see
controls the narrative that controls the world.
Have you read Manufacturing Consent by Noam Chomsky?
No, I have not.
It's a brilliant book. It's very depressing to read, but it's a brilliant book. It talks about how the subtitle is The Political Economy of the Mass Media, and it talks about how, I mean, basically what we've been living in for the past fucking however many years. I mean, shit, it goes back for forever until, when corporations started to realize there's a value in controlling a narrative and framing issues and dividing the public so that we never unite against our common enemy, which is the fucking ruling class. Regardless if we disagree on LGBT or whatever the fuck, we're getting bent over by the same group of people. And they're not Jewish. There's a lot of right-wing people, and I'm not putting y'all in this box, but there's a lot of right-wing people that fall into the bear trap of like,
they're Jews.
The Jews control everything.
Yeah.
And they're almost right. They're almost right. It's not the no. I know that sounds problematic. It's the ruling class that controls everything. There's greedy people in every fucking religion.
Look, man.
Is Bill Gates Jewish?
I don't think so. That's the thing, dude.
Probably.
He's probably a fucking atheist or something. I don't know.
I think he's atheist.
He's probably
a lot of Jews are atheists.
He's probably. Look it up. Look what he is.
Anti-Semitism is bad, kids.
Oh, I don't think so.
Wow.
Honestly, fuck the Jews. Fuck everybody for one.
We're going there. Fuck everybody.
Fuck them all. Like, why the fuck why do we care? I don't care what Australia's doing. I don't care what Israel's doing. I don't care what any of these places are doing. If they're not attacking me, I don't frickin' care.
Exactly.
Who cares? Stop letting these people in our country. Let's fucking build a wall around the whole place and let's live by example and let's make America great again. Damn it.
Okay, so if I could make an argument for not building a wall, I'm not arguing for an open border. I think we should make border crossing a civil offense.
Okay, so let's build a wall.
If you want to build a wall, that's fine. But the thing is, the government's going to funnel money to specific contractors that they're friends with. They're going to make all that money from building the wall because of government corruption.
Let's take over the fucking government.
Let's do that, and then we can build a wall if you want. But here's my suggestion after we build the wall that is just a symbolic virtue signal and doesn't really do anything. But here's my suggestion. If I was president, tax the rich, 90% marginal tax rate on the wealthiest 1% of earners. Second, make legal border crossing a civil offense. So instead of you crossing the border and getting shipped back to Mexico where you're going to get killed because of our diplomacy or failure to have diplomacy in South America and Mexico, we've allowed all these cartels to fester because we've been selling arms to them, we've been selling drugs to them, all this kind of shit. So all these people are fleeing into this country because they want a better life. I don't think that's a crime. So I think crossing the border should be made a civil offense in the sense that, you don't have to be, you need to be a citizen to enter and be a product of society. The thing is, a lot of the people that come here from Mexico and South America, they come here and do the hardest working fucking jobs you can imagine. They do roofing, they do fucking road work. And it's not just brown people. It's everybody that...
I see them out there whenever I go to...
labor is a resource.
Whenever I go to...
use. So more people is more labor. That means more things get built.
I go to Pecos. And there's an area where I prove these meters. And when I'm driving out and driving in, there's these fields of like corn and shit. And there's these school buses. There's like 50 freaking school buses that drive down these dirt roads, and they carry immigrants.
That's those coyote shit. Yeah, and they're carrying them.
These immigrants
rich people
are out there in these fields working, and I mean, it looks like a scene out of like the 1800s. Besides the school bus,
It's modern day slavery, basically.
yeah, and I'm just like, these guys literally just
So-
came over the border like last week.
In the drug war,
Okay, so
in the problem.
yeah, and that's the thing. We've overreached our bounds as a sovereign nation. We start trying to control things in South America.
Yeah.
We start trying to control things in Israel, in the Middle East in general. And it's like, man, we need to focus on us. You know, we spend so much money on the fucking military. If you want to pull
Well,
up
here.
a graph,
And I would say focusing on us would be building a wall. And I think
and
it
if
would
you
do stuff.
if we have to do that, man, I don't have a problem with that. I would say give that contract to a small business.
But hold on.
If you want to build a wall
Small
that
business
bad,
ain't gonna
let the
build that
people
wall, dude.
people vote for it.
Hold
too.
on. I guarantee if you let the people vote for it, it would be outstanding. In the border states,
Especially
it would
in
be
the border states.
outstanding
Dude,
for the wall.
I don't know how close you've been to that
100%.
border, but I was chilling there for 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
Catula. Holy crap, it's insanity. It's all insanity. It's all
Buses and
terrible.
buses and
Do
buses all day long,
truly
all night
believe
long.
a wall is going to completely fix it? But I've talked to enough. No, but I've talked to enough border patrol guys.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten pulled over by them, and I've talked to enough. Hell, Edward Snyder. You know, I don't know anybody.
I listened to that podcast. Y'all did.
Okay, well, there's a lot of other conversations prior, but you know, he tells me straight. It's just wide open where anyone of any type of like background can come in. And I'm sorry, but that Statue of Liberty was from France. That stupid fucking ideology from France.
And it's actually a man, if you look into it.
Okay, I didn't know. Really?
Yeah,
like
it's actually a
liberty
man
and justice?
because there's a...
This is where Steve fucks me up, dude.
there's
Says
a
some bull crap
there-
like that.
Look, there's a
And I'm
secret...
like,
dude, there's a...
I don't know,
in the-
man.
There's a secret society where they literally dress up exactly like that in one of their
Oh, I know
rituals.
that.
But the men
know
have to
that.
dress up like women.
Dude, the Mona Lisa was
for-
a self-portrait.
But I'm just saying,
Trans
it's actually a
stuff has been here for
tranny.
1,000 years.
Yeah. It's a-
Thousands.
so look, they were just fucking with us.
I don't know. Yeah, probably.
They were fucking with
Yeah.
us.
So that is weird, right?
Look, our whole world is a joke because it's run by Satan. And
that is true.
I mean, to tell you the truth, man, look, here's the only thing
I agree
that,
with that.
you can do at this point. We can talk all day about shit that needs to happen that's never going to happen.
Right. We have to start at our doorstep. We got to tend to the
You
garden
look,
we can
yeah, you
reach.
got to start at your home. You got to get your home in
I have
order.
a suggestion.
That's all there is to it, and you have
Sorry,
to
I didn't-
you have to get ready for them to knock on your door.
Yep.
That's it.
I don't disagree with that.
Get ready for them to knock on your door because at this point we're gone. But I just want to say something. If I was president, okay,
kill
not only
every-
president, you know, I should have asked y'all this differently, okay? If you were, in a way, Satan or whatever has control over this planet, okay? If you were that thing, but you wanted it to go in the way that you want it to go in your
Like God?
human, but I'm just saying, if you could control things, what? Not necessarily control things, but
In
let's
other
say
words, if you had a magic wand.
That's the
no,
thing
let's
that
say
I don't
if you
have
could
any
control
desire to
if you can control manipulation, because let's look at it, man. We got the media, and it's really the media that raises
Yeah.
us and puts these thoughts in our minds
Not
and
all
makes
of
us
us, but
think.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of us, you know, a lot of us can see through it, but I'm just saying it's the media that controls the
don't-
population.
yeah, I don't
It's
disagree.
the things they're taking in. So what would you change about that? Is what I should have asked you
Okay.
guys instead of saying if you were president, because I understand the president doesn't have that much power. At this point, we're so far gone that it's hard to change stuff. So,
Can I frame my answer in a way that I took the question?
well, hold on, let me present the question one more time. Okay,
I understand
there's
what
going to
you're
be
saying.
a new generation. There always is. They're growing up right now. If you could teach them, what would you teach to change the future?
to change the future.
Okay, if you
Personal
wanted to save
responsibility is
humanity,
a big one. Personal responsibility. We have a lot of lack of that, and I'm speaking from personal experience. Personal freedom. That's another one.
independence, you mean?
Independence, exactly. But the power to achieve independence too.
One.
So
What does
say-
that mean?
So
It's like government
through
subsidies.
okay, so let me talk about and I know, man, I know the government is bad. I don't disagree with you. But if you look into redlining, we kept a lot of African Americans families specifically from acquiring homes.
Yeah.
And homes is how we build wealth as a society. I don't agree with that. You know, that's just a system
I might agree with
No,
it,
I
man.
agree with it, like, because it's a fact, but I don't agree with it. That should be the only way to acquire wealth. But that's just the society we live in. The problem is we've
Everybody
kept
needs a home.
ownership to a, we're all white males, and I know I'm not trying to fucking call anybody a fucking racist or anything.
I'm proud to be white, damn it.
And I'm not knocking you for that. The thing is, though, the system has been set up in a way to keep people who aren't us from acquiring land and their personal freedom. And
yeah, but that's just
through
the
that, they
Democrats,
acquire
right?
generational wealth. Like, if you look up the average net worth of, like, a white family versus a black family, I think the average white family has, like, $100,000 in savings. Average black family has, like, 8.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that's,
I have like
am I an average black family?
I have like $100 in my bank
and
account
that's
right
the thing.
now.
That's the thing about averages, man, is you have all these billionaires and all these affluent people who have all this money that they're never going to spend. That moves that average up. So, like, people like us, I'm sure we all work our asses off. We're probably not, we're not driving Lamborghinis. Mm-hmm. I can't remember I think it was Teddy
I wouldn't
Roosevelt.
drive a Lamborghini even if I
Well,
could.
yeah, and I agree with you. But there was a Teddy Roosevelt, or maybe it was
But I know what you
FDR,
mean.
But he said, like, a car in every garage, a turkey in every stove or something. I want a fucking Lamborghini in every garage.
But that's
I
the
want a
thing.
fucking
It's so
filet
it's
mignon in
it's
every
not
stove.
just possible. It's so ridiculously easily achieved.
Okay.
That it's stupid.
But can I answer your question then?
Yeah, go ahead. You're the next. Go.
So teaching the generation, right?
Go ahead.
And even talking about the terrible wage gap according to race. You're linking it to race, right? And I'll go there with you. But I would teach the generation first and foremost. There is a battle that you can't see happening, good and bad, whatever you want to call it, that's going straight for your identity. And your identity is found in what that battle is ultimately about. I believe that to be Christ. So that's what I would tell them, because ultimately you're going for to glorify the thing that's bigger than you, that controls the very perception that you think about, which is tough. But anyhow, so I'd start with that. And I would start with your identity is super, super important, because this is, I believe, the stem of why you even have these problems with the trans, with the blacks, with the whatever, like why there's such a division is because people's identities are shook. Okay?
Yeah.
I tell you one thing, if you tell any person based on the color of their skin at a young age that they're not going to make it,
That's the power of the word right there. Yeah.
that's a terrible, terrible way to do things, especially if it's in your commercials, if it's in your media, your media.
It's propaganda.
The devil is categorized in the Bible as the master of the airwaves. That's a dude. Think about that for a second. And when I say devil, no real Christian means guy with the horns and the stick and everything like
Right.
that. We are literally
Yeah.
talking about dimensions. If we want to put it in a physics manner and what we
Metaphysics. That's something,
You
dude, I've
know?
never looked into, but I want to start reading about metaphysics.
That's what we're
'cause-
talking. And I'm even talking about the creator of metaphysics. I'm talking about the stuff we have yet to tap into. I'm talking about quantum times quantum shit.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. And you got to find your pathway to the glorification of that is what I would first off teach. Also, how to shoot. I don't care, male, female, trans, gay.
Yeah.
Learn how to shoot.
There's a libertarian quote that's like, I want gay people to be able to protect their wheat farms with a gun. Same thing with whatever.
I got something you got to look up. Look up when we stopped teaching gun safety in schools.
That's a good one.
When did we stop teaching gun safety in schools?
Sorry for peeing everywhere.
It's all good.
Just don't kill the spider.
I'm glad someone
in
else
there.
is peeing, because I usually pee 12
I
times.
have a bladder of a freaking champ. Anyhow, what in the butt? What did you say?
Well, when did we stop teaching gun safety in schools? America. Let's look, man.
Somebody put civics. Okay, teaching gun safety in schools.
I believe gun safety should be okay. So y'all want to hear it tomorrow? I guess I'll wait till I get on there.
Yeah, that probably. We're all gonna be all and everybody listening is all what?
What'd you type in?
I
What was your
said, when did we stop teaching gun safety in schools? Okay.
public schools? Put public.
Okay. Dude, I can't type.
Y'all want to die? You want to get bit by this brown recluse right now?
Dude, it's not a brown recluse.
That's
That's
a
a wolf spider.
Yeah, it's a wolf spider.
That thing's gonna kill all the. Thing will kill a brown recluse, dude.
Yeah, it'll kill brown recluse, flies, all sorts of good stuff.
Skaters.
So
They'll
what
get
does
the
it
big
say?
ants. When did schools taught
Gun safety up there. What does it say?
This one? It's
the,
Cora.
The one on the right. Yeah.
The Wicca. Gun safety is the study of practicing ammunition, blah blah blah, purpose avoiding unintentional injury.
Maybe gun safety schooling ban or
Say gun safety in public schools. Just
Did we ever teach it?
Yeah, it was once a thing that we taught to every public school.
we used to have wood shop in schools. We used to have all kinds of shit in schools. We don't have anymore. We
Look,
don't have
man.
any creative programs. We don't have any.
If,
I mean, we have welding. I wish I had done.
If
welding
you
in
want
high
my
school,
opinion, there are a group of people who've created secret societies that run our world and
Agreed.
decide everything that goes on.
Agreed.
And everything you see happening in the media and every pandemic and every bullcrap thing that comes our way, every war is planned, pre-planned, way ahead of time. And that's just the truth of it. And until you come to that realization, there is no stopping this. And I don't think there is stopping it in the first place. I don't think our battle's won on the earth, period. I think that we're all screwed, and this is just how it's going to be.
Okay, so I would say we're not screwed if we all got each other's back, regardless of
We
whether
don't, and we're never going to
I don't
because
know,
they
dude.
have
I think
to,
that's
the
a
masses manipulated.
That's a self-defeating mindset or a self-fulfilling prophecy. And my maybe I'm a fucking, I don't know. I feel like my ego has died, but I think, dude, if I got a good list of friends, and they're all very, different in their
White?
skill sets. And no. Jesus, I was trying to be serious.
No, I'm here.
But I don't know. I think if shit hits the fan, maybe I'm fucking naive, but I think people could come together if we lay the groundwork first. If we don't spend our time disagreeing on culture war shit, that doesn't really matter.
No, I'm with you.
We disagree on like 2% of things. It's like the 98% of things that we're all on the same page. Everyone, regardless of what you think. We need to stop watching cable television.
Yeah.
I love my grandmother, but the last 4 years, man, she was watching Fox News constantly. And like I said, I was talking to y'all earlier about how, like, at the beginning of Donald Trump's presidency, I was one of those liberals that would watch fucking MSNBC and CNN. And then I realized,
It's just all a bunch of
it's all a bunch of bullshit. There's independent media outlets out there. Now, granted, there's grifters that will take advantage of lost people and feed them a narrative that resonates with their confirmation bias in an effort to, enrich themselves off of lost people, like I was saying. But I don't know. I completely forgot where I got started on this, but I've just fucking been rambling. My bad.
No, you're good. I'm with you.
Does it say though when we stop? Because I believe, man, if we were talking about this earlier, but I think education should be like a trade school. It should be more liberating. Because the thing is, we all think so freely when we're kids. And I'm not saying we got to be kids again, because you got to grow up, you got to have responsibilities, all that stuff. But we go to school, and this is why I think you're an interesting person, Steve, is because you haven't necessarily been put through this in the sense that we go to school, we get told to sit down and shut up and take orders and follow orders and not speak out of turn, raise your hand to speak, all this authoritarian bullshit.
Yeah.
That's what I don't like about schooling. And the thing is, it's hard for teachers to deal with kids whenever they're all, being kids.
Yeah.
I went to Reagan.
There's just too many kids and one teacher.
And here's the thing. I went to Reagan, man, like in kindergarten, I think. And I got kicked out because my ADHD ass was like all over the fucking place. And the teacher was like, put this kid on drugs. I can't fucking handle him. And my parents put me on Ritalin. That shit turned me into a zombie.
Can I get one of your smokes?
Yes, sir. Here you go. But I don't know. It's just, I don't agree with a lot of things in the schooling system. And I wouldn't say that I don't know. I haven't been to school. I don't think they're pushing transgender or gay issues. I think they might be like educating people on the existence of gay or trans people, and the right-wing media sort of like uses that as a, because they know there are traditionalist people that don't agree with the gay and the trans stuff, and they use it as a wedge, you know.
Has changed rapidly since we've been in. I think,
and like I said, I haven't been in school in forever, so
yeah.
I think our schooling was bad.
Well, I went to public school for like a month.
Juneteenth existed, or why Juneteenth existed for the longest time. They never taught us about that in school.
Yeah, it's because the Democrats finally recognized that the slaves were free.
And that's, yep, I'm not going to defend the Democrats here.
They said, oh shit, I guess we got to free these fuckers.
Fucking Abraham Lincoln, he said he wouldn't have even freed the slaves, I think.
Well, and that was at the beginning. That was the beginning of the whole process. But he was.
We never finished Reconstruction
because he knew what he had to do. Well, he knew he was. I think he knew that federalizing the country was a bad idea. But he knew that was about probably the only way that he could see at the time to do away with slavery. So now we have this.
Our forefathers from the very beginning, I mean, even back in 1776, when they were declaring their independence, knew that slavery was going to cause a war. They already knew it. They already wrote about it and said it. They said, look, this issue right here, we cannot address it at this point because we're about to fight a power that's more powerful than us.
The biggest army in the world,
and if we're not together, and if we bring up the slavery thing right now, we're going to divide our country and we're going to fall back into the British hands.
Sometimes that's for the better, though. And you may disagree, but I think I don't know. I disagree with slavery.
I disagree with slavery too. I mean, everybody does.
Right. And I'm not saying
there's
you
literally
do,
no
right,
one here that doesn't, and that's why reparations are the worst thing in the world.
I think reparations are could be a metaphor for like any like let's invest into the poor and underserved communities like we have into the suburbs and into more
hold
affluence.
On. When has the government invested in the suburbs? Okay, let me just put this in your head. Okay, for one, listen. Let's say people are stupid. People are fucking stupid.
I'm stupid. Yeah,
we're stupid, man. Okay, so when the CIA comes in the 70s and the 80s and starts pumping crack into these black communities and making their rap go from hip hop, which was all about loving your community and
getting
life,
out of your community,
getting out of the
almost.
ghetto, and then it changed to gangster shit, which is all about killing and selling drugs. Okay, if they don't wake up and see that, it's just because humanity's stupid. Okay, so. And that you can say, oh, well, we can't blame them for that. But you know what?
It's part of their culture.
Well, it's part of the environment.
It's not a part of their culture.
Into.
It was made, it's an artificial part of their culture that was literally put on them by the very powers that be. Okay? So, yeah, you can say, okay, they've been held down by the system.
So isn't that systemic?
But that's illegal. That's not like our laws. That's not things that was all illegal shit.
And I think
shit that wasn't on the books is what I'm trying to say.
The fear
and then we're all trying to fix the legal system when there's nothing wrong with the legal system. Everybody has the same rights. It's the illegal shit that's going on that's fucking everything up.
Mm-hmm. And we never talk about that.
The stuff that we can't talk about.
You're right.
The stuff that is supposed to not exist.
The stuff that I think why Donald Trump A, lost it, B, has a terrible reputation, and C, like...
He was surrounded by yes men his entire life and never had to work for anything. That's my theory.
Yeah,
probably.
Well, I think he worked a lot. Even I saw some videos of
he hadn't worked like we have. I mean,
well, I'm just saying he was the only candidate up there.
Man,
he had more money as an 8-year-old than we have ever had in any.
I understand that, but being a project manager, that in the moment doesn't matter how much money you got because
and it's a stress. Right, it's stressful.
Fucking gnarly. And they were saying that's
Trump
everybody
is not our
thinks
savior.
This is a worker in his construction
crew.
He was maybe he was a plant. I don't know.
Independence
literally
is our savior. Period.
I get it.
We got to get away from the system.
You remember,
nobody is our savior.
He was at the very beginning. He was starting to talk a lot ahead about the intelligence community.
Yeah.
And then at the same time of the impeachment, he started going to battle with the intelligence committee. Coincidentally, I think the battle happened before. So weird how that worked out. But they were talking about impeaching him the day he got in.
All that
So-
was designed to do was make the fucking political system in a stalemate and
I
just
think
keep
it
anything
was
from being
a
done.
distraction
Yeah.
while they started slipping this virus into people's life.
Trump is a
That's what I
subject.
think.
Trump is a subject.
Yeah,
that's
he
for sure.
was a test. He was
But-
a test subject, man.
But listen, I don't know if he was controlled opposition.
I think he was.
I don't know. Look.
It's tough.
I followed him from day one. I've listened to almost every speech he's ever given.
Mhm.
If he's controlled opposition, I don't think he knew it.
No, yeah, and I agree with that.
I think
really
most
think-
controlled opposition.
I think he's a human, and we put too much hope into one human.
Well, we can agree Bush
Very
was
true.
both the Bushes.
And yeah, well, the Bushes, they were the opposition. What are you talking about? George H. Bush was he ran the CIA before he was president.
Yeah.
Red flag. Come on, guys. The guy that was pushing drugs with Ronald Reagan
Right.
over here now is your president.
Preach.
Fucking what the hell, okay? Trump,
Yep.
on the other hand, was not that. He literally, all these people loved him, man. All these people in Hollywood, everybody loved him. They loved the guy until he came out and started actually speaking truth. So you can say one thing. Oh, he started speaking truth.
Well,
He
I
started
don't know.
saying,
okay.
You
look,
know that
It was a partial truth. Okay, so here's my thing about Trump. Like, he talked like a populist. He railed against the trade deals. Fucking agree.
that was like,
He railed against the corruption. Agree. Drain swamp, all that shit. The problem is, behind closed doors, he's just as much a part of the swamp as Nancy Pelosi, as Chuck Schumer, as Mitch McConnell, as any of
you're
them, man.
probably right.
And that's why I call him controlled opposition. And that's why I feel for people like you, because I think I voted for Obama's second term. I can't remember. I'm ashamed to say that, honestly.
Poor
but-
bastard.
Right. The thing is, like, I know how that feels to get to vote for somebody who tells you what you want to hear, but when they have power, they don't do it. Like Trump talked about gun rights and all this shit.
a lot of stuff he said he was
Yeah,
going to do. He
he-
actually did almost
He
everything
didn't
said he
pass
was gonna do.
the hearing. One of the things that I agreed with was the Hearing Protection Act, which would make silencers or suppressors like more
Fully
easily.
legal?
Yeah.
Well, actually,
And
that's
he
already
did-
happening in
And
Texas.
that's
So.
more of the ATF, like deep state type of shit that you know, we can get
no,
into that.
he
but
passed him and the Dan Crenshaw, who the
fuck
Red
conservative-
flag
Dude,
laws.
Let me say
they
this.
passed red flag laws that weren't there before. Okay,
And I don't necessarily
some of
agree
them-
with red flag laws because a lot of the
I
people
100%. I believe in you get a
They're
jury and a
100%
trial.
Right,
and-
You cannot
You don't just
cannot
get
prosecute a
arrested.
crime that has not happened.
Yeah.
So let me tell you a quote from two people. Karl Marx said, "Under no pretext should arms and ammunition be surrendered from the working class. Any attempt to do so should be frustrated by force if necessary." Quote from Donald Trump: "I believe in taking the guns first.
Yeah, I heard him say that.
Take the guns first. Go through due process second."
Yeah.
And it's like our political discourse has had these things flipped.
But I'm sure I can
Where-
find a quote from Karl Marx that is just as damning as anything Trump's ever said.
And if you can, man, tell me about it. But I've read a lot about Marx. His fucking books are really dry and boring, so I'm not gonna like suggest.
it's
anybody-
tough. I've tried to.
It's
Like,
boring as fuck. But
I just know his manifesto.
he was brilliant. He was brilliant, and he saw the problems of capitalism, and he's been drugged through the mud, and he's been attached to Stalin. So Marx was like pro-freedom. I already said this once. He was pro-freedom, anti-capitalism. Stalin was pro-state capitalism, labeled as communism.
Well,
So
and
the state controlled everything, and that's what I'm against. I'm like, that's what the libertarian socialist
that's Hitler
is
too.
anti-statist. And Hitler, while he used the socialist moniker, he talked about labor rights and all this stuff. He then used it to demonize certain groups of society, to blend like corporate and federal power, basically. You can look up the 14 Signs of Fascism by Umberto Eco if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Every U.S. president post-World War II fits that fucking description. It's not just Trump. This problem did not start with Trump.
I agree. I think Trump, he was just played in a pocket of being
agreed.
a fascist.
And every president gets played in the pocket.
I think some of them are more in it. Trump wasn't related. All these other presidents are all related, including Obama.
Well, Trump used to be on the donor side of things. He used to donate to Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
True.
He was a Democrat.
And I don't want to be. I don't want to be like defending Trump.
Right, and I'm not trying to
I'll
put you
just
in
tell
a spot where you have to defend
certain things I liked.
And
But
I'm not.
again,
I'm not faulting
My
you for.
political
defend
leadership.
Trump. He's the
goes,
best president we've had in a long time.
Man, I think he set up something that's unstoppable.
And I don't know the
I
full
really
story,
do.
man. I don't.
Nobody does. That's the
Personally, I
problem.
think Trump is a yes man who was surrounded, or he was surrounded by yes men. He never really. I mean, he might have worked hard, but he never had to face true adversity in his life because he was given so many things.
True adversity bullshit. He knew fucking freedom. And whenever he was campaigning, he's talked about freedom.
When
and then
in
whenever
2016.
And then whenever he was president, he actually worked for America. He wanted to get our troops out of all these places in the world.
That. And what I was going to say
earlier, he
earlier,
wanted to secure our borders. He wanted to make it to where we could actually earn a living everywhere. He wanted to
Didn't Bernie want to secure borders too? I mean,
dude, look, Bernie's not open. I mean, the thing.
If you're in America and you're not America first, then what the fuck are you doing here?
I'm not saying I'm not America first, right? My thing is, like, I don't know how to say it. The open border thing. There's not really that many leftists that are for a completely open border, like how we have now. You would say, like, you were saying people just come across willy-nilly. The problem is the process to get here legally is it's such a shit show that people, they do come across illegally because that's the only viable thing as opposed to waiting for 10 years.
I don't think anybody should be able to allowed in our country. Period.
But we're all immigrants, though.
It doesn't matter.
We all came from Europe.
Doesn't give a fuck. Who gives a fuck about that shit? Who cares about that shit? Okay, they're in another country. They should fucking fix their country.
Well, we destroyed their country with our drug war and our economic policies.
Okay, well, we should take over our fucking government and redo it and make it free again and then say, hey, motherfucker, you do the same. Fuck you. We have a wall now. And if you come over here, our citizens should freely be able to kill you. Period. If you come over here illegally. You're going to ruin our country.
I don't think they've ruined it, man. I think it's the rich white people that have ruined their country more than the fucking poor brown people or black people.
I mean, I agree with you on that.
I think you have more in common with the people that come across this country.
But I'm not going to say they're white. I'm going to say it's their...
Or whatever.
I'm going to judge a person by their actions and not their skin color.
I agree.
For one, just like Martin Luther King said. But
there's
if you're down for genocide and you think our planet... If you've been brainwashed and you really think our planet is overpopulated... Even though we're condensed into these little areas, if you've been there and you think you need to kill off all these people, then
I never said kill off anybody. I think we're condensed. I don't think we're overpopulated, but we are too condensed, and we're not running society as efficiently as we could.
It's all a plan, man. We're screwed. They're here to kill us.
We are screwed.
They're here to take our freedom away. That's all there is to it. We are the last.
Well, our freedoms have been taken away.
We're the last thing in the world. America is the last thing in the world that is free. And without America standing, when America falls, which I think we're falling right now, we're about to hit the ground. When America falls, the entire world is going to be controlled. And that's all there is to it. Do you want to raise your kids in a place where you can give them family values and things that they're actually going to use in their life that won't make them depressed, won't make them ever have the thought of blowing their fucking brains out?
Yeah.
Do you want that for your children, or do you want them to be in this system where they're fucked and they don't have any meaning of life and they're all atheists and they all just think they're just bullshit. They're just a fucking cog in the machine. Or do you want to raise your kids with Christ and realize that you have a purpose here and a freedom and you have unalienable rights that cannot be swayed by a government? And if they are swayed by a government, you can take over that government. Morally, you will have the high ground. See, that's the thing about the left is they've taken, they have the moral high ground.
They do use that. They
use the moral high ground.
They're just as racist as everybody else, but they will use
the moral high ground.
These virtue signal talking points and stuff.
Yeah, well, it's all about the individual. This person should be able to do that. And it's just like, well, okay, this person shouldn't be able to go to my child's school and,
Well, are you pro-segregation? That's a hot take.
No, I'm not pro-segregation at all.
Okay.
I think that, I mean, honestly,
he didn't finish his thought.
Oh, my
Some
bad.
of these, there's drag shows for your kids to come and dance on the leg.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't think like all gay people or trans people are pedophiles. There is some weird shit though.
But
some weird shit.
And if you want to get
out there, and it's not 100% of them. It's like I said, like 2% versus 98%.
Yeah, but that's the 2% that's being pushed 100% of the time.
Yeah, and that's what we need to realize. Like, man, we can't divide ourselves over issues like this because at the end of the day, it doesn't affect us. Like, there's trans people that exist. I'm still here. I'm living my life. I'm having a good time, and I don't have kids, so I realize like y'all's perspectives might be different on this.
Yeah,
My thing
I
is,
don't either.
when I raise
want
my kids, I'm gonna tell them like trans people exist, gay people exist. You know, these are people that for whatever personal reason
They have problems with their brains, honey.
I don't agree with that.
That's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say they're fucking mentally ill.
Well, whatever.
This man thinks
you know.
that he should have a vagina, but you know what? He's never gonna have a baby because he's not real woman like your mama is.
But does that affect you in your personal life, though?
Yeah, it's going to affect my children because it's going to brainwash them at an early age.
But
because children soak in everything, and if their school is teaching them that a man can transition to a woman if he wants, and that's perfectly natural, yeah, that's going to affect my life and my children's life, and it's probably going to make one of my children blow their fucking brains out by the time they're 16 years old. So yeah, at that point, I'm like, yeah, this is evil. This is literal evil that most of the world does not recognize.
Thing is,
because they go, we need to have the moral high ground. These are individuals. We need to recognize their feelings.
That's the performative
fuck their
wokeness
fucking
stuff.
feelings, man.
But what I want to ask you is, because I don't believe that like elementary school students or high school students are necessarily, and like I said, I haven't been in school in forever. If you watch Tucker Carlson all the time, you're gonna think that they're force feeding kids fucking hormone therapy or something. That's not what's happening.
They literally are in schools.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah,
but
you live in Texas. It's not like that.
Well,
you go to New York, you go to these other liberal states, they are doing that,
they're
man.
not forcing it, but I do. Okay,
Dude,
so
all their teachers are fucking commies. All their teachers are teaching communism.
That just shows me, Steve, if I can be 100% honest with you, man, I do not mean this I'm just speaking to you because I know you're a real dude and I can talk. The things you're saying, man, they show me that you're getting your talking points from a talking head and you're not fully thinking for yourself. I know you're a free thinking individual, right?
I'm thinking for myself.
I've heard all these talking points before, okay? And I've had conversations with conservatives. We'll agree on 98% of issues. The rich control everything. We're all fucked. We're going to die. We need to fucking start to learn how to be more self-sustaining. And then we get on the trans or gay issue and it all goes out the window. My thing is, let's put that aside. Let's put that aside and let's focus on coming together, respecting one another, regardless of whatever decisions we make. And look, if you want to keep all that shit out of schooling, like, I don't think it's necessarily in the schools. In here, other states could be different. And we can talk about how, like the hormone therapy for kids. I think you should be in an informed decision before you're able to modify your genetic. You should be 18 the same way, you can't smoke cigarettes or, whatever. There should be an age where you're, I would say even 25, because I felt like I was a fucking idiot until 25. Yeah. If I made a permanent decision, luckily I got tattoos that I don't hate, but if I had got my dick chopped off, and I'm not saying that I'm not transphobic at all or anything, like, fucking cancel me if you want to, but
I am.
and that's fine, dude. Like, be you. You have the freedom to be yourself.
I'm not scared of them.
Scared.
Okay? Yeah, I'm not scared of them.
I'm not either, but the thing is, I know them.
I'm very annoyed by them.
I've talked to trans people.
I'm related to one.
They're normal.
Me too, unfortunately.
Dude, they're normal people. If you just talk to them like a human, you'd realize that there's nothing to fear.
They come over to my house, and I hang out with them, and we have great conversations. But you know what? If my child sees them, they don't come over to my house when my child's awake. That's for damn sure.
And you have the freedom.
If my child sees a man dressed as a woman, that's a fucking problem. Especially in my house. That's a fucking problem.
And you have the
there.
personal freedom to decide what your children are exposed to, right? I agree with that. But
my kid's not going to blow his fucking brains out at 16. It ain't going to happen.
Well, the thing is,
it's
though,
not going to get brainwashed.
The failures of capitalism will make you want to blow your brains out more than the existence of a man who wants to be
100%.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. Like, that's why I Joe Rogan, as much as I used to love Joe Rogan, I feel like he lost his soul after the Spotify deal. Would y'all agree with that? Have y'all listened to him?
Look, I always hated Joe Rogan. He's a fucking toe.
Well,
but
and he's had CIA people on his show, so that tells you everything you need to know. But seems like lately he's just been on like there's real shit you could talk about, but he gets caught up in like trans people trying to lift weights or do boxing or whatever. The thing is, there's weight classes for a reason. If somebody, I don't know.
Well, look, I don't care who you are.
Dude, a
120-pound man can beat up a 120-pound woman any fucking day. Period. We have testosterone.
I don't know about any day.
I've seen some women that can
I've
fight, bro.
seen
and
a woman
even out of their weight class.
Beat the living daylights.
Yeah, I have too.
Beat the living daylights out
you
of me.
You underestimate the power of
quite honest, but
bottled up anger.
I think in this in this moment, that is something that's out the window. I don't care. Steve doesn't care. Nobody cares.
Right. And that's the thing. It gets used as a
Take
wedge.
away homeschooling. And push this through the public schooling, and he's right, man. All that's happening is he's been seeing other parents show studies from their kids' class that they get, especially during the COVID lockdown, they were able to see now. Like, what the fuck are you, And so they started posting a bunch of stuff, and it is literally...
They're pushing trans shit on our kids.
It's, and dude, again, if you go on Amazon Prime, you cannot. It doesn't matter a month,
HBO
day, a
Max,
week.
Amazon
There
Prime.
is hashtag Stop Asian Hate. There is,
Man, all that stuff
pride,
is
all
fucking
this
manufactured, outraged, designed
is.
to keep... You want to hear
and
about
it implodes on itself.
The whole
It-
thing is
yeah.
to literally get the right to fucking attack, because they're the only fuckers with guns and the balls to do it, but we're not
And-
going to do it
and
because we know it's a
so
trap.
we got to talk about something.
It's a trap.
I'm curious okay, I think I could set this up good.
Set it up.
So, Steve, I'm curious, with all this talking of freedom and being independent, what your thoughts, and take a second to think, don't immediately answer, what your thoughts were on the Black Lives Matter and Antifa taking over Seattle.
COINTELPRO, brother. Look
Okay.
that up while he's thinking about it.
And Bradyn, what do you think about January 6th?
Okay.
Do you want me to go first? Because I can
go
roll
ahead.
on this one. Okay, so January 6th. This shows you the power of propaganda, right? So whether or not you think that the election was stolen or whatever, we can completely disregard that. I don't believe that it was. I could be wrong on that. I fully accept that possibility because they rig the fucking DNC primaries all the time. But besides that, you had a bunch of people who got riled up by Donald Trump. He used donations, like he was asking for donations the whole time to fight the election fraud, right? But what he was actually using it for was to pay off campaign events from his supporters, who were mostly working class people. So he's taking donations, and if you read the emails, you can look up like Trump donation email. It's worded absurdly. It's like, you have denied the president of the United States' request for your donation, and it's like a real guilt trip. But anyway, to get back to January 6th, like, he riled all these people up. The Fox News, One America, Newsmax, they all were running with this shit. And they were claiming voter fraud on behalf of, what was the name of the voter company?
Dominion.
Dominion. Dominion threatened to sue these news companies because what they were saying was false. So they stopped saying it because they knew it was false. They couldn't prove it. So they shut the fuck up. And the problem is, you had all these people who were really riled up, people who were disenfranchised, people who I would probably agree with on 98% of things besides, whatever else. We don't have to get back into it. But a woman died. Cops died. People died.
Ashley
that day.
Babbitt got shot. No
By the
cop.
state.
No cop.
By the state.
No cop died.
Okay.
Only Trump supporters died. One of them died from a stroke, and he wasn't even at the Capitol. He was on
One
the
of them
Capitol
got beat to death. I know that.
on the Capitol grounds. Ashley Babbitt got shot by a Capitol police officer. No police officer died. That is bullshit. They did not die. He died like 2 days later from a stroke, or the next day. He never got hit by a
Why
fire
did he put in the
extinguisher.
hospital, though?
He never got hit by a fire extinguisher. He called his family that night, and he was perfectly fine.
And look,
he
dude,
died the next day of a stroke. He never got no police officer died at the hands of a Trump supporter that day.
At the beginning of the whole thing, before it, there were obvious Trump supporters having fights with police. Fist
No,
fights.
no.
And
If I
full
could-
blown.
So
If I
we
could
saw
finish,
that for a whole year straight with Antifa and
Of
Black
course.
Lives
Okay,
Matter,
so
and nothing
hold on,
happened.
Here's
hold
the
on.
thing,
This
though.
is why
if
I
I could
asked
finish
you
my
the
thought,
question.
though, because if you think about Black Lives Matter versus January 6th, it's the same anger that stems from the same problems, but the system has forced us to view each other as opposing forces. And now, post January 6th, the government wants to enact a 9/11 style commission to further the surveillance state. I do not agree with that. I realize the people that were at the Capitol on January 6th were there because of propaganda, because they viewed themselves as patriots. And you might disagree. You can speak your mind right as soon as I finish. But the whole point that I was trying to get to is, fuck, I lost it. You can go ahead, Steve. I'm sorry.
I just think that the people that were at the Capitol were actual people with common sense, and they knew what the fuck was going on in this world. And Black Lives Matter are a bunch of propaganda, brainwashed individuals who live in ghettos and only watch what's on the news, and they just want to riot and have fun. So that's what they do.
That's the power of propaganda, Steve.
No, that's the power of the masses, the brainwashed masses in these giant cities.
How many Black Lives Matter protests did you go to? Can I ask you that?
I've seen plenty of them in live stream.
Online?
Yeah, I mean live stream.
Okay. So let's talk about
uncut.
Let's talk about Antifa.
Okay.
People who
are fascists and call themselves anti-fascists. Go ahead.
Okay. Right. I know what you're saying, and I agree with you. Violence used against the working class, I don't agree with. Okay, so when people like Antifa throw Molotov cocktails into small businesses, that's fucked up, in my opinion.
Just because they want to have fun. They have no political opinion.
Well, it's because they haven't been listened to for years and years. And a lot of it is fucking white anarch. And I'm sorry to bring up the race thing again, but I'm just talking about what I've seen. A lot of it is fucking white anarchists who are edgelords. They want to go throw a Molotov cocktail so they can feel like a fucking revolutionary. And that gets pushed as the entire Black Lives Matter movement when that's completely separate. And that's all I wish more people understood is like these people just want civil rights and to not be shot by police at 3.5 times more the rate than anybody else. And I know people say 13% of black people commit 50% of violent crime. Well, guess what? The fucking income inequality is the cause of all crime. So if we give people opportunities to improve their own lives, to pick themselves up by their bootstraps, to give them the boots to pick themselves up, you reduce all crime.
I think
by doing that.
I think you didn't probably mean to mean all crime.
Well, no, not all crime. Right, and I'm talking like blue collar crime, small criminals.
Because I mean,
we're talking about like the white collar criminals. That's who people need to be fucking focusing on
for sure.
Not this broken window shit where we focus on nonviolent
the whole
drug
divide
offenders.
and conquer thing is to focus on each other instead of the actual problem.
Right,
100%.
I agree with you. 100%.
But I'm just saying, at this point, they have been brainwashed, and you have to call it out as brainwashing.
And I don't disagree with it.
Because the people
We've
at the
all
Capitol,
been brainwashed, man. Me and you both.
Like, you might not believe that this election was stolen, but right now, if he looks up the graph of when the votes came in, it was stolen,
that's the thing
my
about
friend.
mail-in voting.
All these votes for Joe Biden, this mail-in voting crap, and the shit they found in Maricopa County, where they've done this audit, to where these ballots were literally put in the machine in order, which is statistically impossible if they're supposed to be mailed in. They're not supposed to be put in order. The only way they were put in order because they were printed out in order and filled out and then put in the machine.
And that may be true. And if it's true, man, I hope a court finds the evidence for it.
Dude,
and I hope it's found out.
We're past that point. There is no court that's going to find the evidence. Okay, the evidence
I
is
believe
there.
There is no evidence.
The evidence is there 100%. And this election was stolen.
I think your evidence is Nancy Pelosi is still in power, and both the left and the right hate her.
Yep.
So,
I hate
but
Nancy
she
Pelosi.
still constantly gets elected in, weirdly enough.
Your elections are fake, and these fucking machines we vote into were literally created by Castro.
You said if that Castro shit, that's all bullshit. I'm sorry to break that to you.
It's
But if I could get
true.
back to what I would do if I was president, paper ballots, 100%.
Yep.
Fuck these machines, paper ballots.
And you would see, man, if you had paper ballots and elections were actually free, you would see the reality. I promise you that.
And I don't doubt that there's some kind of fuckery. The thing is, I'm a man of like, and I'm not trying to sound pretentious when I say this, but I'm a man of like data. So like if you say this election fraud has been committed, I would like see the evidence. That's not like some weird obscure video of somebody like pushing a cart full of ballots.
Can we look up the graph?
Yeah, please.
On election night?
Look it up. If I'm wrong, I'd love to know.
Look up the graph on where the votes came in at 3 a.m.
And I'd like to know the source on the graph too, because the problem is, man, and I'm not saying this to hate on either one of y'all, but
2020 election.
All sources, even sources that I fucking have looked at, are controlled by the establishment to push a narrative. And that's not the case in all studies and all data, but it's the case in some studies and some data. So you have to be careful with what you watch and what you believe. The problem with this whole thing is our country is so fucking divided, man. Like the Biden barely scraped by.
Yeah.
He barely scraped by, and that's why I don't
all the fraud.
Right. And yeah, the thing is though, there's more cases of voter fraud for Donald Trump than there are against Donald Trump. That I know is a fact. But
that's
anyway,
the graph right there, by the way. Right there. See that spike?
I do see that.
That's that 3 a.m, by the way.
Does it say?
Yeah.
Can you tell me where that's from though? Because the thing is, Democratic areas are more like, or like
they're
urban areas.
propaganda controlled.
Well, they're more likely to vote Democrat. So say that's in a metropolitan center, and
Well, what about
votes.
what about the water line that busted that night in Pennsylvania,
that was in
and that actually
that
never
was in
busted in Pennsylvania?
I did hear about that.
So
and
it never
I don't-
busted, and they said a water pipe busted, so they had to stop counting the votes, and that's what gave them.
Yeah.
You know.
Man, you could be 100% right, because I've said Alex Jones is wrong about
Well,
things
look,
before.
I'll tell
and
you
been
right
proven
now,
wrong, so.
I don't understand how you don't believe this, because I'll tell you right now, when have you ever known of a presidential election that has lasted that long? When ever in our
right.
entire history have we ever voted and it's lasted that long and we didn't know the results that long? It's always been that night.
Well,
we know who's the president.
And the thing is, we normally have more in-person voting, and those numbers are more easily accessible. The problem is Republicans actually pushed legislation that stopped the counting of mail-in votes in Georgia and a lot of the states that it took a while to get results in. The Republicans said, we're going to stop.
There should be no mail-in votes. You should have to show up at the polls and show your ID and prove that you're an American citizen before you ever vote.
And that goes back
Like
to
it's always
the
been
COVID
since
thing.
this country was founded.
Was COVID real? Was it a fuck? I mean, I think COVID was real, but I think it was also used in a unethical way. And man, you could be right on the election fraud shit. And fucking a couple
I
years.
think COVID was 100% fake, and I think the real virus is the vaccine. And I think that they used it to get Trump out and to fake an election with these mail-in ballots and all this bullshit and push authoritarianism.
It's either
That's
real
what it's about.
or fake, but it's definitely real. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's real in the sense
The
that
force of COVID shall be reckoned with for years to come.
Oh, yeah.
And it could not even exist.
It was a dry run for an authoritarian.
There was a
takeover,
99.9%
for
survival
sure.
rate. There was a 99.9% survival
I'm
rate.
just saying, there's that.
On one more time, just so everybody knows, there was a 99.9% survival rate of this pandemic. Just let everybody
Pandemic's,
know.
again, a weird term because it just means, I mean, herpes is technically a pandemic. You know?
Ammo
It just
shortage
means
is
it
a
crosses,
pandemic.
It crosses, you know.
threshold, like international boundaries, yeah.
Yeah, international boundaries.
And it was airborne. That was the thing. It's airborne. Not a lot of fucking viruses are airborne pathogens.
Well, most colds
And that's
are.
why I think if you could look up Fort Detrick breach,
Yeah, you showed me this.
if you want to talk about some shit that'll get us put on a government list, let's
Oh,
fucking.
that's far. That's
Okay,
already happened.
Can I tell you about my theory for COVID? All right, so there's a Fort Detrick lab in Maryland, I believe. It was breached in June or July of 2019. And later that year, they had the World Military Games in China, which is like all the military, the UN military forces all kind of getting together. I don't know if it's UN but anyway.
Wouldn't surprise me.
It's like Olympics for the military or some shit. It was made open to the public for the first time in 2019 after that breach was made. So here's my theory. Bill Gates did his TED Talk on, and this is all speculation. I have no evidence to back this up. But Bill Gates did his TED Talk in like 2017 on how we're not prepared for the next pandemic. And then we just happened to have one 3 years later. So my theory is we have these labs that are studying viruses all the time in order to try to develop vaccines in case one of them, in case one like it appears, we have a vaccine ready. So here's my theory. Somebody took the virus from the people that were studying it at Fort Detrick, whoever that could be. I don't know. This is all speculation. Time goes by, World Military Games in China, in Wuhan, China, mind you, open to the public for the first time ever. And COVID, who knows how long it took for the government to actually start talking about it? Because I don't trust the Chinese government a lot, like I don't trust the U.S. government.
Well, I don't. Well, damn sure that, but I don't trust the timeline of COVID either.
Well, yeah, because I knew people getting sick before
I got sick.
I got sick in January.
But that was, hey, dude, that was the last time I've ever gotten sick.
Really?
Was the year before
Look,
COVID.
hold on, let me clarify.
I have not been sick yet.
Because when I say that the virus is fake, I don't mean that there wasn't an actual virus
It was
released.
manufactured.
I think there was a virus released that was manufactured that had very low. I mean, it was the point to where they released a virus that almost did nothing.
It almost
the
seems like
population.
population control because it affected old people more. And also the symptoms, there was an incubation period where you were contagious for like 14 days without any symptoms.
Yeah.
That's what screams bioweapon to me.
And not only that, you know, in that
or,
TED Talks you were talking about with Bill Gates, he literally talks about where he says,
Yeah, we've all watched
he says,
it many a times
if we do a good job with vaccinations, we can cut down the population by 16%.
Yeah.
What the fuck does that mean? He says that in that
And he
TED
goes
Talks.
to explain by saying, got people like Africans don't try to have as much kids while they have vaccines.
Yeah.
Because why? Because the probability they only have a lot of kids because of the probability of one
death.
kid dying is high.
Yeah.
But if you have a vaccine, you're good. You don't need this many kids. And I'm like,
Dude, that's the China shit, like that.
what?
That authoritarian shit, like if you have a girl, you have to fucking kill it because we, have, you know, that I don't know. I don't agree with like reproduction control. Like fucking have as many kids as you want. Have no kids if you want. Personal freedom all the way. Like you have the choice. God gave us all free will, and we do with it what we see fit. You know, same thing with this.
So, at the end of the day, are you willing to fight for a society that's free without government interference?
So you haven't answered my question though.
What was your question again?
About the siege over in Portland, Black Lives Matter and
the cops?
Antifa. No, they took over what
Who was
blocks?
it?
They took a police
Who was
station.
the black man that just got shot? Who was it? Remind me. Was it
Dude, I
George
have it-
Floyd? Was it?
Okay, Ashley Babbitt and George Floyd have a lot more in common than we realize. I'm against state-sanctioned murder, regardless of who the victim is.
Well,
Would you
for
agree
one,
with
I
that?
don't think George Floyd was actually murdered by that police officer.
I think it was the drugs.
It was the fentanyl for sure.
That's more Fox News propaganda.
The little fentanyl in his system was way more than a person should be able to handle.
Didn't the autopsy guy who performed the autopsy was the same one who performed Epstein's? And
That-
he came
and
up-
JFK?
I don't know.
And
about
JFK,
that.
and he came up.
Michael Bay. What's his name?
Yeah, it
Michael
was
something.
the same guy.
He came up with the first conclusion was fentanyl.
Yeah.
And then the second coroner came out with a completely different thing.
The thing is, if somebody's knee is on your neck for 8 minutes,
I watched George Floyd's life leave from his
and it was state-sanctioned murder, in my opinion, the same way that Ashley Babbitt was killed. And I wish more people would realize the overlap between the two. So the BLM movement is against the police in the same way that conservatives are against the ATF, in that they're against authoritarian government action, you know, shooting people because they want freedom.
Man, you know, I have had my bad times.
I don't
I've
like the
thought
cops.
exactly like a criminal, man.
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
And there's a rise to it.
There's
and
a story I want to bring up right now from our childhood that I think will get you in trouble. So I'm not going to say it.
I mean, it's from
I don't
our
like
childhood.
the I don't
Look how
like the
bad
cops.
trouble.
I don't like the cops for one reason. They can have things I can't have. Period.
They can take your property too legally.
Yeah, but they
Asset
can
forfeiture. That's
Well,
another thing.
I'd be perfectly willing to fight the police for my property if
And
we
you should have the right to do so.
were on level playing ground. But for one, they have things that I cannot buy.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I had the money to buy them, I would not legally be able to purchase. That is a problem in America.
I don't
I
disagree
don't care
with that.
about Canada or any of these other countries, but in America, that is a problem. And if you don't see that, then you're probably not American. I mean, at this point, you might as well call yourself something else because you're not an American. American means
Freedom,
independence and freedom
For
and
everybody,
from
though,
the
not,
government.
And we all understand that the guns, that's the only real way to do that, is just have a well-armed public.
Like if you want to
Even
get,
if it's just a checkmate, you know.
if you want to be like Fox
sure.
News and CNN and just beat around the bush all day and talk about feelings and fucking legislation, then that's great. But if you want to be a real person and talk about the actual solutions and actual problems, well, yeah, your guns are the only thing that won you this country and the only thing that's going to keep this country going freely. The actual American. You can call this place America all you want, but right now it's not America. That's all there is to it. It's not America. They're about to force vaccines on us once the FDA approves this shit. We're about to be screwed royally. And this vaccine is a DNA changing thing. You know, then after World War II, when we took all those Nazis that experimented on those Jews in those concentration camps, we created the thing called the Nuremberg trials, and we put those fuckers to death,
And
except for the ones that the media didn't know about.
Every single
those guys.
every single president post World War II could have been indicted by the Nuremberg laws.
Yeah, but I'm just saying now the Nuremberg laws no longer
not upheld
exist
anymore, right?
You know, they don't exist anymore because
Hang the fucking
it's about to
plutocrats,
happen.
man.
Especially as Joe Biden is your president. You don't think in the next few years, once the FDA approves the Pfizer vaccine, which is the first one, I promise
That
you, mark my
Trump
words.
pushed.
You know what?
Yeah, he pushed
you know what? My whole thing is, what was it? The Johnson & Johnson vaccine? That's the one that isn't the mRNA, I think. It doesn't affect your DNA.
I don't know. I
But
would
it's-
never, ever, ever get anything from
Yeah.
Johnson & Johnson.
Really?
Their
Fuck 'em
baby
all.
powder does cancer.
Really?
Yeah, it literally
I
creates
haven't fucking
cancer.
heard about that.
Yeah, dude. I didn't deep dive nothing. I was watching TV late at night, and a fucking infomercial came in, and it was Johnson
you
and
have been
Johnson.
infected by
I'm
it.
all-
Did your mom use
I'm like, I use
diaper
it still,
powder on you?
You know,
Class action lawsuit.
I
Wait,
get swamp ass. Yeah, I
will you
use
give me
it.
Is there a Dos Equis left in there? Or do I need to go get one from the fridge?
No, Johnson and dude, we could literally be here all night
Thank you.
pulling up Johnson and Johnson videos. It's
Really?
terrible.
I need to look into it.
Look,
The modern.
I'm not an anti-vax guy either.
I am at this point. I'm like,
But
give me
again-
my, what is that shit you get from Rust?
Tetanus shot.
Give me my
yeah.
tetanus shot and give me
The rabies shot.
the
I'm
rabies
good.
shot, and I'm fucking good. Seriously, what the fuck else do I need?
True. I mean, I'm
Seriously,
with
what
you,
do I
but
need?
No flu vaccine.
I don't
works.
knock
No
anybody
flu
for getting the
vaccine.
vaccine though, just because
I do.
You know-
you're gonna fucking shed on me, you
Well,
asshole.
I'm just. That's not why I care about it. I'm just. I say I have the same feeling, only in a more extreme level, of people who buy the new model of whatever,
iPhone.
you know,
That's
and then
capitalism.
they're all complaining about it.
Jinx,
Like,
you owe
this
me a
thing
book.
doesn't work, blah blah blah, and they're like, oh, we need a rebate, you know, like a new model of a car is the worst thing you could
Yeah.
possibly.
You're
buy.
gonna have to get your booster in 3 months.
Yeah, that all these
Oh,
rebates.
yeah,
Great.
dude.
Yeah, so
Every 3
that
months for the rest of your
cannot-
life.
That
Keep
cannot
wearing your
happen
mask.
with a vaccine that a non-doctor pushed. All these non-doctors pushed on us. You know, like
Yeah.
Bill Gates is not a doctor.
Fuck them anyways. You know what?
Dude,
I'm ready to die.
Is he a doctor? And I'm not.
Let's
tripping?
fucking
No,
die.
He's
I'm,
not a doctor,
I'm
right?
pretty sure life
He's
after this
He's
life
a smart
can
dude,
be
but
better.
He's not a doctor.
Just saying.
Oh, I'm ready.
He's an
Yeah,
entrepreneur.
we need to just get ready to die.
Look,
ultimately.
I'm
that's
been
where you're
ready
at
to
right
die,
now,
dude.
man.
I
Be
was
ready
ready
to
for
die, but know why you're dying and where you're
Do you got
going.
any more Zen? While
Yeah,
I'm getting ready to die.
Actually, I'm out.
Shoot.
We're gonna have to cut this guy short, guys.
Need that nicotine.
Look, if I was president, I would just push reality. I would push humanism. I would push man and woman. I would push family and like actual science, you know? That's what I would push. I would push independence. I would
Family is a big thing.
whenever we would, you know, come up to a power crisis like we're having rolling blackouts and
Yeah,
stuff.
see.
I would say, well, you know what? There's these things you can do from a ceiling. Our ceiling fan you can use, or just your little fan in your house. You know, when it stops working, well, you take it apart and you turn it into a windmill and it produces electricity for you. If it has magnets and copper coils, great, that produces electricity for you. That could probably run your air conditioner, especially in Odessa, Texas, where the wind's blowing constantly. Bam, that's one thing right there. So one
That's-
solar panel can probably run.
That's that evil wind energy, though. I don't like that. It ain't come from the
Well,
ground.
look, no, hold on. Here's the
I
difference,
think
my friend.
as a wind farm, it is evil.
Well, yeah, here's the difference, my
Yeah.
friend. We used to have these coal plants here in Texas. We used to also have these power plants in Texas ran by natural gas, which actually always sustained us no matter what was happening. There was no such thing as a rolling blackout. It was not. We have the power because we're using fossil fuels that we literally drill and pump out of the ground right here in Texas, and it always sustained us. And not only that, we'd have so much of it that we'd have to go give it to the rest of the country.
During this freeze, gas plants did shut down.
Yeah,
But-
yeah.
And it's because if I could
It's
just-
because they didn't winterize for one, because
Exactly.
they didn't think the
they
winter.
wanted to
was
say,
that.
okay, so Greg Abbott wanted to save his billionaire buddies a bunch of money. If you
Yeah.
look into Ken Paxton,
I hate Greg Abbott.
Remember when we
he's
talked about
under
him?
fraud investigation.
Fraud for SEC violations, which is like insider trading shit, and then when we last had our podcast, we talked about this, but I didn't know the full story. But apparently, he was in tight with a Austin real estate developer named Nate Smith or something. I don't know. Nate Smith is a drummer. His last name was Nate, or his first name was Nate. Anyway, it's neither here nor there. He was in tight with that dude, and while COVID was going on, all these local businesses were struggling because they had to pay rent to these fucking landlords, billionaires, if you will. He took bribes from that dude to help him basically acquire more property that was, small businesses. So he's helping aid this upward wealth transfer, this sort of surrendering of small business to oligopoly, to plutocrats, to billionaire, the elite, ruling class, whatever you want to call them. And man, our whole government's like that. It's not just the Democrats, it's the Republicans too.
Yeah.
Not all of them.
We're screwed.
But a lot of them. Too many of them are corrupt on both sides.
I'm not a fucking Republican, dude.
And I'm not. You're right.
There's
Dude,
no way I'm a
I'm not trying to put either one of y'all. I'm not trying to put either one of y'all in a box. But I'm talking about like the nation as a whole. Mm-hmm. And dude, the whole two-party system, it's the reason why we're so divided as a country, because our media system panders to one half of the country while outraging the other half, and then we never talk about these things because we're all fucking so mad at each other. And I say we, I'm talking about we as a society, not us three. I think
pissed.
we're all. Well, yeah, we're outraged, but
super pissed.
I'm pissed at
the
Steve,
media,
personally.
I'm pissed at Caleb.
I'm personally mad at Steve. Right.
and
now.
that's okay. That's okay. You're
Caleb's
a
face
grown man.
offends me.
You can still love Steve,
Existence
even if you're mad at
offends me.
Steve. You can still love him, right?
I want to love.
I
to
don't know
hate
about
him.
that.
I love to hate Steve. Actually,
It hurts.
I just want to.
Look, dude, I'm the extremist, and
Let's chop off some heads, man.
I'm
We just gotta make
totally
sure
down.
we all agree on whose head we're chopping off.
Look, all I'm saying is whenever it's all said and done, I'm going to have my property, I'm going to grow my shit, and if you fuck with me and ask for money, I'm going to shoot you.
Well, I won't come asking for nothing.
Okay.
Like, I believe in self-sustainability.
You come to me with some corn, I'll grow some wheat.
All
What
right.
if I
We'll
want to
trade
work
up.
What
on
if I
your
come
land?
with? What if I come
Trade.
with some?
Well, that's
illicit
fine. You
drugs?
can work on my land. I'll pay you. I'll
But what
even let
if
you live
I'm
there.
just-
What if I show up to your gate with some illicit drugs? Would you let me in?
It just depends what they do. Are they
All
going
right.
to save my child's life when it gets bit by a rattlesnake? Then yeah, you're in.
Okay.
Is it going to get me high and make sure my farm doesn't function the way it is? I'm going to kill you.
Oh shit, that's how I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna get shot by Steve trying to give him.
I've
some-
already weighed that possibility many times in my brain. So, welcome to the club.
I remember y'all were doing a podcast a while back, and I was just listening to the audio at work, but you were talking about Steve pointing a gun at you, and I was just fucking
Oh,
laughing.
you mean every podcast?
Hey, I didn't. I don't know if I. You might have to go look back, but I don't think I did it.
You went like
good.
that and went good.
Okay.
That's that
okay.
muzzle discipline. That's something we used to teach in school, muzzle discipline. Trigger
Yeah.
discipline.
I've been teaching my daughter that because she walks around with this Red Ryder and she constantly points it at me, and I know it's not on safety, and I'm
That's
just like,
dangerous.
He's gonna be that one-eyed redneck
What was that?
plantation owner. Right there, you. Back in my day.
Walking around like Dan Crenshaw with
except all my slaves are gonna be my children.
Ah,
Look at me. Look at me.
I love it, dude.
I'm a perfect.
I trimmed my mustache.
I'm gonna go get some fucking.
The
overalls.
South will rise again.
Wow. Steve is a white supremacist.
Can I hear your Alex Jones impersonation? Because that's my favorite thing you do. I think.
Pass me a beer before.
Listen,
oh
everybody.
wait, we're out, huh?
No,
I'll get one.
I can only do intense Alex Jones. It's whenever he's really breaking down his
Turn the
thoughts.
freaking frogs gay. They turn the freaking frogs gay.
I mean, look, I don't know, man. I've been listening to Alex Jones for a long time, and he definitely didn't radicalize me.
Mm-hmm.
Look, my parents didn't even teach me this stuff, you know?
I'm good. I got one full one somewhere around here.
My parents never set me down and said, hey, Steve, look, you're free and you're protected by this Constitution, and anything the government does that steps over the Constitution is null and void, and it's not real law, it's just tyranny. They never said that, but I always knew it, you know?
And I'm against tyranny as well. That's why, like, I walk with the Black Lives Matter people, because I view the police brutality as a form of that tyranny, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that gets used as the wedge
When
to
real police
divide us.
brutality
Look,
happens,
I
that
know
is
what you
the
mean, man. Because
pure definition. of
Because look,
tyrant.
I'm saying like Black Lives Matter has been manipulated by the media, and
Right.
and the literal people that they think that they're fighting against are manipulating them.
So
But
let
it's
me
the
ask
same
you
thing with
this.
conservatives though, because the QAnon bullshit,
Right.
which I was all about. You know, I wasn't like all about it. I wasn't like following it, thinking it was
But-
God, like most like some of
The
these.
thing
QAnon
is, you were looking
fuckers.
for answers though.
But I was
like Jeff Epstein and all this shit.
But
You were looking
but
for
it was
answers. for
true
all
though.
that.
It was like, yeah. I mean, Alex Jones exposed that shit a long time ago when he snuck into
He's talking
Bohemian
about
Grove.
interdimensional pedophile
Nah,
and shit, and I think he's
dude,
on to something.
Have you
After
ever
I ate
seen
some
Alex,
mushrooms a
have
while
you,
back?
Have you ever
man,
seen Alex Jones' Bohemian Grove documentary?
I remember him and Joe Rogan talking. about
Listen,
it.
you
I
need to go watch it.
It's for real.
That shit is creepy though. The secret
he's-
society shit.
He sneaks into Bohemian Grove dressed as a chauffeur and films their ritual that they're having. And this is back in what, the 90s, whenever.
that occult shit that they're all
But
into.
listen, this is back in the 90s, whenever America is still known as a Christian society, and
Look
all these people are like saying they're Christian, you know.
So I'm sorry to off-rail this, but when I went to this Fort Detrick biowarfare lab link thing,
I've never seen this link. I saw the one on
I
military.com.
don't know,
so
but
who the
look
fuck
at
knows?
look at this ad right here.
The rape of innocence.
Female genital mutilation, circumcision in the U.S.
Dude,
Okay.
this is a book that and you buy it. Like, I accidentally clicked it, and I was
$5
like, what the crap are we looking at, dude? I thought
Okay.
Steve pulled it up.
So circumcision is weird.
Yeah,
Circumcision is
definitely
to
weird.
get back to jerking off. I'm just fucking with
What
you.
would it feel like to jerk off with an uncircumcised dick?
I'll never know.
Something
Thanks, parents.
I've always
Thanks,
wondered.
government.
Yeah, thanks, Mom.
You took
What,
my
yeah.
fucking foreskin.
Just because Jesus
bastards.
did it doesn't mean I have to do it.
Come and take it.
Jesus.
Yes, I read it today in Luke.
Okay.
And dude, I was reading Luke today, and because I've been reading Matthew, you know.
Uh-huh.
Now I'm reading Luke, and it's there's a few questions I got.
Well, look, Luke is one of the only disciples in the Bible who wrote it from a
Historical, and that's what it even says at the
pers-
beginning. It
yeah.
says like I've
all these are
compiled
personal
these
accounts,
yeah.
but Luke.
But he says
went
I'm
to
writing them
witnesses.
in order,
Yeah.
because the rest of the Bible isn't really written in order.
No, it's not.
and that's what confuses people a lot too. And they go, oh well,
Right.
there's
Contradictions.
Contradiction. Well, it's not really, because it's not written in order, bro. For one, you have to really be a biblical scholar to fucking
Right.
understand it. Like, you
And
really
even
do.
then-
But it
even
doesn't
then you
take
don't
that
get
long
all
to
that.
become a biblical scholar. Honestly, you just have to kind of study. But anyways, Luke
Read
is,
it every night.
But Luke, yeah, exactly. But Luke is
in a year you'll
is
be good.
putting it in a whole new perspective. But there's just
Yeah.
a few things we'll talk
Well,
about.
I
later.
just think it's cool. I mean, the Bible is a historical document, regardless of what we literally. There were historians who wrote it. Luke was a historian of
Yeah.
the time.
yeah.
His accounts were witness
And
accounts.
he even says that in the beginning of Luke. He's like,
Matthew,
look, I'm
Mark,
putting this
Luke,
together.
John, these other guys were doing walks with Jesus and going back and writing it down, or talking to other people, writing it down. Those are personal accounts. But
Luke even says in Luke, I was reading it today, he was talking about how he had studied it to the best of his ability and basically put it down in that book.
he made it very clear how he wanted to.
And he not only that, he talks about studying it and making sure it was true. He talks about like I didn't like
Well, do
how
you
he
know-
was a skeptic and he studied every aspect of it and was like, okay, this is the true story and this is what I'm writing for you. But the thing that, because I only read the first chapter, and in the first chapter he talks about, like, he says that those wise men, that come and visit Jesus, which, a lot of people think it was 3, could have been more. We don't really know the number.
Right.
But he says that they're farmers. And he doesn't mention Harold at all, because Harold was, in Matthew, Harold was saying, like, he was talking with the wise men and saying, hey, once you find the Son of God, let me know so I can worship him with you. And then later on, they had a vision from the angel Gabriel that was like, look, dude, Harold doesn't want to worship him. He wants to kill him. That's why. So don't go back and tell Harold that you found the Son of God. So,
well,
but it doesn't say that in
where,
Luke. It just says that they're farmers and they went to visit him. That's all it says.
Might need to keep reading. I don't know that particular part,
So,
but
can I ask
Satan
y'all-
was after Jesus the second he was born.
Yeah. Well, that was he
There
was
was the king.
working through Harold. And Harold,
king and
once Jesus left Jerusalem, wasn't that where he was born? Jerusalem, right?
Yeah,
And he
Bethlehem.
went to Nazareth. Harold killed all the firstborn, you know.
yeah,
So
crazy.
So what's y'all's opinion of like all the translations of the Bible? Because I'm curious. I'm not I'll be honest,
we
I haven't
actually have a version of the Bible that gives you the old translations and the actual meaning of the words, and it is swayed. There's some books that versions of the Bible
you
can read.
It gets abused to sort of like make people believe that the ruling class is anointed by God. I think the Bible has been.
I don't know what Bible they're reading.
Right.
Yeah.
I have no clue what Bible they're reading.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing though. Like people will say like the televangelist types, the Peter Popoffs people, the prosperity gospel. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, morons.
Yeah. Right. And that's the thing that gives Christianity a bad name, religion in general. For me, that's why I was an atheist for so long. It's because I was looking at like the mega churches that have $200,000 fucking sound systems, and then there's homeless people outside the church. And then you look at like a small church and they're having like a soup kitchen, feeding people like stuff that actually, Jesus would have been doing. And that's, and I wrote Christianity, or not Christianity as a whole, but I sort of lost faith because of that,
Did you know that the Church of Christ is the literally only church that isn't a denomination and that doesn't every other denomination
a committee.
Every other denomination meets up globally.
They have actual committees.
Yeah. And Church of Christ is the only church that doesn't.
It's a weird unbiblical hierarchy of
Church of Christ is the Republic of Christianity. I'm telling you, they're like, no, we're not gonna go meet up and talk to these.
To answer
dudes.
your earlier question, we have talked about this.
Like, what would you say
thing,
if I wanted to read a Bible and I wanted like the truest representation
English
of the Word
Standard
of God?
Version? English Standard Version. It's not going to be all woo unicorns and pretty.
It's going to be actual readable. It's not going to be in Old English. And it's also going to give you old translations as well. Okay. Like Hebrew translations, Greek translations.
And references to when they're talking about, because especially the New Testament is mainly all about the Old Testament. It's very strange. Like he'll reference certain laws and everything, and it'll give you that.
Well, it's the whole entire thing. The whole entire thing is pointing towards one thing, and even if you read the Old Testament, like it makes no sense to be a Jew. Like it really doesn't, because the whole Old Testament without Jesus Christ means nothing. Like there's no point to it. It's all pointing towards Jesus Christ the entire time. It's prophesying a Messiah that's going to come, and the Jews don't believe that the Messiah came. I guess they're still waiting for him.
Yeah,
but
they are.
Yeah, they're still waiting for him, but they don't. It's just that's what it's pointing to the whole time, and that's what the New Testament keeps pointing to, saying, "Hey, look back here. This said that it was going to happen, and
Even
now this prophecy is being fulfilled."
In the Torah, it literally tells you why the Son of Man is coming is because of all your crazy, weird, elitist rules that you push on, and you can't follow or anything like that. Like,
we missed the point,
and
man.
that's why
the whole
the
thing.
bloodlines. Yeah. The bloodlines are a problem, and I think he sent the.
And I kind of have a theory, man. Okay, because in the Old Testament, like only the Jews were the chosen people, right? Like only the people, the descendants from Abraham, the descendants from from Abraham and Isaac. These were the chosen people. Well, why weren't these other people chosen? Why did it have to wait till Jesus Christ came for these other people to be led in and chosen? Well, I have an idea, man. Before the flood, we had a thing called the Nephilim, who were demons that came down. Well,
they're angels, fallen angels.
Demons. Fallen angels are demons that, Satan got kicked out of heaven, took a lot of angels with him that followed Satan. Those were the demons that came and mated with the women here on earth.
And had hybrids.
Hybrids called the Nephilim.
Yeah.
Which were the giants and godmen. They actually had powers because they had, and that's what I'm thinking. Like the bloodlines got pure enough once Jesus. That's why Jesus came at that time, because at that time, the bloodline was pure enough for everybody to be saved. It was no longer manipulated by demons. But that's just my theory. There's not too much in the Bible that'll necessarily, I think, prove that. But I
think everything you said was biblical, dude. I mean. Honestly,
it doesn't put it in that plain writing, but it's like,
but it kind of does when he's talking to Noah and giving him these reasons, and telling him like what's going on, and then right then and there, it's Genesis 6 talking about like how
Noah or
God-
Moses?
Noah.
Noah the ark?
Yes.
Okay, so
Okay,
yeah.
So what I'm talking about is that's pretty early in the Bible.
Because he's like, Noah, you're the only person on the entire earth that is cool.
You better build a boat, Noah.
He's like, everybody else has fucked a demon, so you are the only guy that I trust, and you're gonna have to build this boat to save your family because I'm about to kill everybody.
Every
else.
single fucking animal on Earth.
But apparently, other people on Earth survived the flood. That's all I'm saying.
Alien fish lords.
It had to have happened. Someone on Earth survived the flood besides Noah, and that's why Jesus took so long to get here.
I believe it.
I mean,
it's trivial.
It's not in the Bible.
Trivial question, but what else would you? Oh, English standard version. But yeah, no, the Roman Catholic Church has had its greedy little dick beaters on the Bible, and it's kind of a little hard to do stuff. But English standard version.
The Catholic Church. Oh, geez, where do I start with that?
Bunch of pedophiles.
Well, and the thing is, there's a lot of pedophiles in the church, like anywhere. It's a weird thing. Like when you tell people that like.
Not really
Sex
anywhere.
is
I'd say
immoral.
more the Catholic Church because
right,
the Catholic Church has this rule to where their priests cannot get married.
Right.
And that's not even biblical. For one, even Paul was the only apostle that didn't get married, and he even says in, I think it's in Matthew, it might not be in Matthew, but I'm pretty sure it is, where he even talks about, he says, why can't I have a wife, He's talking to God. Or he might not be talking to God. I think he's talking to actually the Jews at the synagogue, saying like, "I'm the only one without a wife. All these other apostles have wives,
What the hell?
And he's like, I can have a wife if I want, guys. I choose not to because I've dedicated my life to the Holy Spirit, to
Right.
Christ, and to preserving His law and saving souls, basically. But I don't know how the Catholic Church got that mixed up, and they were like, not no one else.
Dude,
they can't get married.
They turned everything
upside down. For
the
control.
reason why, because
this is the Dark Ages we don't hear about.
Right, dude. I'd like to know what the fuck was going on during the Dark Ages.
You'll never
because
know. You'll never know. Really.
I know what's going on. The fucking Catholic Church had all knowledge. People were not educated. They couldn't read.
Okay, you could say like we live in a time like that now where enlightenment is kept to the affluent of society.
Yeah, definitely.
And like education is so expensive. And I know like our education system sort of indoctrinates people to think a certain way, regardless of which side of the political spectrum you think it pushes people towards. I think it definitely indoctrinates us to not think for ourselves.
Dude, I'm friends with a 33rd degree Freemason.
I like Freemasons.
And he will not tell me. He will not tell me the truth, and I know he's lying to me. And I hang out with him, and I'm just like, dude, I know you're lying to me.
Dude, one of my best friends' dad is a Freemason, and he's one of the coolest people I've ever met.
Yeah, they're the coolest people ever. I know.
It's a club. Okay,
know,
so like
yeah.
the billionaires have their big club, like the George Carlin big club, and then there's the Freemasons.
But
and we can't be in either one. God damn it!
Here's the thing, though. I know the ending ritual. I know what it takes to get to the 33rd degree. I know what it is. It's been written down. It's not a secret anymore, and he still denies it. And I'm just like, okay, man.
You have to kill somebody? What is it?
Nah, you have to denounce Christ is what you have to do.
Really?
You have to denounce Christ.
I thought their whole thing was like they'll accept anybody.
Nah, that's everything except the 33rd degree when you actually know the secrets
Is it
of
like
the universe.
Agnostic type of thing, or what?
No, it's a self-loving, worldly, Satanist thing. And they keep you in, and yeah, unless you're the 33rd degree, yeah, you're a Christian, and yeah. It's
just so weird.
And it might not be, maybe it's not. Maybe
it's
it's not.
Like Masons is like the term Masons came. Oh, sorry, I'm not talking to Mike. The term Masons came from like the people who built, the architecture. The people who. The term Mason means like an artisan, a tradesman.
But
like
what they took it to is said, yeah, we now create reality. That's what it really is. We control the masses, and we are the architects of reality.
The thing is, I went to a Mason meeting. Like I said, one of my friends' dad's a Freemason, and I don't know what.
So
happens
you went to breakfast?
Well, it was it was some kind of ceremony. and all it was is they like an award ceremony type.
So it was
of
like public thing.
I could go, and I I was just a friend of the one of the dude's kids, but the thing is, like, none of these people seemed
Evil.
elitist. They all seemed just like normal people.
Yep.
And man, we're all normal. Well, except for the politicians, and
I'm not fucking normal.
I'm not at all.
Well, okay. let me define normal. Like
Poor.
okay, yeah. Poor. We're poor.
We don't control
And
or own anything.
Not to say that I'm not blessed, man. I love my life. I'm so fucking lucky. Like, I've got the woman of my dreams.
I am
I've got
too,
a
man.
house.
I am too.
All I want is other people to be able to find that for themselves. That's like my whole
Yes, sir.
philosophy. It's like, I'm so happy. I feel so blessed. I want other people to feel this happy and this blessed.
Well, and
Whatever I can do, even if my taxes go towards paying for people who are unemployed, if it helps them get on their feet and get to a position, because there's all times where we go.
Fuck taxes.
And look. And you can say taxation is theft, and I think there's an argument to be made for that. But me, philosophically, I don't have a problem with paying a portion of my paycheck to the government if I trust the government to.
I don't trust the government.
I don't trust the government either. That's where we all agree 100%. The thing is, we gotta learn how to vote for people who are going to. And this is like the reform versus revolution question.
Hold on, Steve.
This is the reform versus revolution. Do you reform the system, or do we all walk outside with guns and say,
Let's walk outside with guns.
this shit isn't going to go on any longer? And like we said, you said Trump supporters, Black Lives Matter. The thing is, we can't put ourselves in these boxes. We're all Americans. Black, white, gay, lesbian, whatever the fuck, transgender. We're all Americans. We should all have guns, and we should all have control over the government.
Why don't you pull up that clip of Joe
The
Biden like a week ago saying that
we pull
all
up-
Americans should give up their AR-15s because there's
fuck
no
that.
way that they could overthrow the government even if they wanted
I
to
saw
try.
that. I saw
Yeah,
that. Fuck that
you're gonna
shit.
need nukes and F-15s.
Which
Yeah.
means
Which means
we
you're
need to
what,
start.
you're gonna
We need to
nuke us?
start. We need to start saving up. Is what that means. We
Yeah,
need to start buying
exactly.
some F-15s. I don't know how the fuck we're gonna get 115
I
million
say,
or whatever. The
look,
fuck.
I can create in my shed.
I'm willing
Hey,
to play chicken with their
Easy,
soul,
easy,
dude.
Okay,
easy.
yeah,
The
you're
feds will
right.
listen. Easy,
Yeah.
easy.
And
I'm just
What I
saying
will
it's
say-
possible. I saw the guy on YouTube creating a gas from a couple of sheets of steel and
It'd be a shame if somebody threw that
and some
into a
baking
government
soda,
building.
and he can create a gas that's very, very explosive. I'm saying you could probably fill this beer bottle with it and blow up
Man,
this room.
Man, for educational purposes, that's very interesting. For educational purposes, asterisk.
And, yeah.
I don't know how to make it or nothing.
I'll
Yeah,
say
never, dude. I'm not a chemist.
I'll say one thing that's legal still
What's
is
that?
I'll go soul for soul. I'll look them straight in the eyes. If you really think you can and want to actually kill us and me,
It's so much easier to die for what you believe in
You
than
know,
it is to kill for it.
well,
I mean,
I would
that maybe
kill.
that's.
I could
know.
take a life.
Look,
Very
I'm
easily.
scared of myself. I'm literally scared of myself. Like, sometimes I'm just thinking, like, dude, the amount of killing I could see myself doing
This
is
system has made you
scary.
think that way, though.
No, it's not, man. It's the exact opposite. Okay, they want us to think that we can't. Like
Can
Joe
I-
Biden coming out and saying, "Oh, you might as well just give up your AR-15 because you're going to need nukes and
beat
jets
Joe Biden's
to fucking overthrow the government." Well, you know what? Why he's saying that? It's because he's
Yeah,
scared.
he's freaked out.
It's fear that's making him say
the
that.
government should fear the people.
'Cause
That's why I don't.
the-
That's what January 6th.
The government fears
Which
what,
is why
what
I
one
was
man
trying
can
to
do with
get
some
at.
fertilizer. Okay, you grow a garden and you get the real fertilizer. Okay, the actual chemical.
The poop.
Yeah,
cow
no,
poop.
not the poop. You could turn that
Before
poop
we get
into the fertilizer.
that
But I'm just
crazy-
saying, the fertilizer can do a lot of damage. Look at the Oklahoma bombing. Okay, Oklahoma City bombing.
Man.
That took out half a building.
It'd be a shame if somebody looked that up.
Yeah, I'd be ashamed if we realized that all of the what was it? Was it Benghazi? Mm-hmm. That
Hillary
all the
Clinton.
documents that got ruined during that bombing. I wonder who set that up. But
Yeah, and you go back to 9/11. Dude, I used to be, man, I don't know what to think about 9/11, honestly. Like, I used to be a 9/11 truther. Did you ever watch the Plain Truth documentary? I'm
Plain
sure.
Truth, I watched.
That was when I started to question
what was it
American
called?
imperialism.
What was it called? The one that we used to watch.
There was Zeitgeist.
Zeitgeist.
And,
You ever see all that?
I haven't
That
seen that one.
is the communist.
I know,
thing in
right?
the
But
century.
the way they
one.
got you, is they gave you some truth at the beginning because it's like a 2-hour long video. And they give you truth about 9/11, and it's like, holy shit. And all of a sudden they start pushing this fucking communist fucking world on
dirty.
you.
Yeah, it was dirty.
And it's just like, are you putting your headphones down like
gotta
you're
pee.
about to? Okay. I
So
was
you
about to say-
guys kill one another
Okay, we will.
because y'all obviously
I don't
hate
wanna-
one another.
Are you sure about that?
Y'all can't agree on nothing.
Dude, I want to
Bullshit.
fucking kiss this guy right now.
Me and Steve are gonna make out.
We might
gonna-
make out here in a minute.
So okay,
I'm out of cigarettes.
Caleb's
wanna
jealous now.
leave.
Caleb's jealous now. But look,
We both agree, though,
I think we agree on
a lot of things.
on the bottom line. It's just look.
The method of getting to where we want to get is different, and that's okay, man. Like I'm not trying to woke scold you or
I just
preach
want to
to
be
you.
left alone, and honestly, I think
And-
you do too.
and that's the freedom of it. Like, and I think everybody should have the freedom to be left alone. Like, regardless of, if you're a Christian, if you're not a Christian. That's the thing about subscribing to a particular religion that I myself struggle with. And I think there's a lot of lessons in,
Dude,
say, Buddhism.
Literally,
or,
look,
or,
I
you
talk
know,
about the Bible, right?
Mhm.
I talk about Christ.
I
I'm not
think-
a Christian, man. I'm not a Christian. I
And-
do not
right.
go to church. My wife goes to church. She's been baptized. My mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, they're all in it. I'm not.
Mhm.
Okay?
I feel closer to God in nature than I ever have in a church.
I'm the same way, but look, when it comes down to it, I've been struggling with this my entire life.
right.
When it comes down to it, like, it is what it is. Like,
It is what it is.
look, Jesus, God, okay, the Bible. The one thing about it is that it gave us free will, okay? It put us here on the earth. You can go back to the Garden of Eden.
Oh, we
It gave us free will.
this whole time.
You shouldn't we?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
So
But look-
I mean, dude, this has been good conversation, so I wouldn't even be
That's
mad.
the only
but
thing that draws me to Christianity is free will, okay? The
Mhm.
fact that
I agree with
God
that.
came down, and even Jesus came down, and he said, "Look, man," he said,
Do whatever
he
the fuck
said-
you want, man.
He said, "Stop sacrificing your goats
Stop
and
killing
stuff.
each other.
You're not even under the old law anymore. All the old law, the 10 Commandments, Jesus said, you're not under that anymore.
Mhm.
That is no longer your thing. Now you get baptized and you have grace in God, because you're gonna keep sinning, no matter what. You're a human."
That's true.
You're going to keep sinning, but you have the grace of God. So you're going to survive. All you have to do is try. That's the whole thing. And be fishers of men,
Fishers of men. I
That's-
like
that's-
that.
That's a big...
You posted that
big-
on your Instagram. I like that quote.
That was just from that book.
Mm-hmm.
That one book.
That one.
But I'm just saying he gave us free will. He was like, you know what? I'm no longer going to come down here and raise an army against you. I'm no longer going to flood the earth. I'm no longer going to do all that stuff.
I'll take care
Till
of
the end of
yourself.
time. I'm going to come back and do it one last time, and I'm going to fuck you up if you haven't listened to me, okay? Because I've said it out, and the word is here.
I'm gonna beat your ass.
But you know what? I still struggle with it because, like, during this podcast, after I've had a few beers and I feel good about it, I can talk about it, and I feel it, But in my daily life, I don't fucking feel it, man. I don't.
right.
I get out in the world and I don't feel it. Like,
We're so far.
I try
removed
my
from-
hardest to feel it, and I just don't. Like, I start thinking these worldly thoughts again, like, like projecting myself on the universe, and it's just not what it is, But I have free will. I have that. I have that right to think that, and I think God wanted us that way. He didn't want us to.
I agree.
He didn't want us to obey him because we're afraid of hell.
Well, and he
afraid
already
of
had
burning.
that.
True. That's the thing. I feel like the punishment gets used
Yeah, and
as a deterrent when morality should be like something we all just kind of have an understanding.
exactly, and that's what he wants you to have, is that morality by choice.
In your heart.
by choice.
Because he knows that, yeah, of course you could go murder that guy that pisses you off.
But that won't.
Of course you
Make
you
you
can go
feel
murder
better,
the guy that
right.
slept with your girlfriend. Of course you can do that. Yeah, you have the free will to do that.
But
It's the fact that you chose not to. It's the fact that you saw a
Well,
higher power.
And typically, when you start to sin, and I'm talking about any sin, and extreme or low, but in God's eyes, there's no such thing. But in this
Right.
world's eyes, there is.
yeah,
If you start to get on that and start, even as a Christian who backslides, which is just a term for somebody who's kind of fallen off the beaten path, which I think is a good
That's
thing.
where you find yourself, man. Is off the beaten path.
Well,
Not to interrupt
that's
you,
a
but
good path to be on biblically, because it says that the
We are on the unbeaten path
you
once
need
you're
to be
a Christian.
on.
Yeah.
You need to be on the unbeaten path. I mean,
'Cause
or the
that's-
one little beaten path.
Because the
right?
whole world's gonna try to
go down that wide road, man. The road
that
to
easy road,
righteousness is windy
Man,
and
it's
narrow.
narrow.
if I could talk about just the way society is, man, we've been taught to look externally for all these answers. Like, you know, you want to have we view success as like having a fucking mansion, fucking kids on your yacht, having a private jet or whatever. Man, I think like true success, true wealth is like within, if that makes sense. Like
It
I realize
most definitely is.
we live in a society where you have to have money to pay the bills, so we all got to go to work every day. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with the
I
exploitation.
have a problem with that.
I think work can be fulfilling if it's the right kind of work, like working your own land, or hunting, or fishing, or doing, you know, anything to provide for the people you love. That's what I view real work as. But we all live in a society where we have to do this fake work, where we're all, you know, I won't say we're all, but most of us go to work every day and put food on somebody else's table, and then, you know, and I'm blessed enough to work at a small business where my boss takes care of me. So this isn't a qualm on my part, but I'm talking about like the people that work at Walmart, the people that work at McDonald's, people that work at Amazon, who might be in retirement age, and they're having to go back to work because.
But hold on though, like why would you? You know, these people have had an entire life to live.
Right.
They've made choices, and their
But the
choices have got them where they are.
Well,
There's no one that's
which
forced
is-
them to take any job. There's
Real
no one
quick,
that's forced them to be
That's
in
what
any
I was
spot.
gonna say. Is when you start to sin like that, not only is there a spiritual hell that everybody knows about, there's also your own personal hell that you're about to fall into.
Yeah.
Like
I think
100%.
We all have to go through that.
Every
personal
person
hell,
I've
too.
talked to that has killed somebody, and weirdly enough, there's a lot of them. And you hear it even in the movies. They see the faces when they go to sleep.
Yeah.
You know,
We're not wired to kill people.
well,
I mean, maybe.
I feel like I am.
well.
it just depends. Okay, it depends. So it's gonna be really hard to find somebody who killed somebody and doesn't get bothered, because it's hard to kill people in a non-bothersome way.
Unless
so most people I talk
in a
to
very
who-
specific situation,
Right,
where, like
who
self-defense or something.
who I've talked to about killing people have been military people. But a lot of them run in the same circle and the same ideology as me, is like, we shouldn't have fucking done that. So
Right.
now what do you do? Now you went
Repent.
in, got all patriotic, got all trained, became a killer. You come back, you figure some stuff out. You got played in the worst of all ways. And
Man.
now you're having some weird...
Can I talk to you? Okay, so when I moved to Brownwood, I was living by myself. I lived next to a woman who was dating a guy who was a veteran, and I never like you were saying, we don't talk to our neighbors anymore. But one day I went outside, she was just crying in the front yard. I was talking to her, and she couldn't tell me anything. But one of the neighbors had come to talk to her as well, and she had told me like her boyfriend is gone. I took that as like he just packed up and left. No, he fucking shot himself. And he was a veteran with PTSD. And we don't take care of our... I mean, we can talk about the war crimes committed by the military and all that shit, but put that all aside.
I'm not blaming the troops.
Right. I'm not blaming the troops.
There's some that I
But they-
possibly could
okay, so
blame
we
in a
s-
situation.
Can you look up the poverty draft real quick? So the thing is, the military preys on poor, desperate people who want to live a fulfilled life. And they recruit them into the military.
Is that what they're doing right now? Getting us all ready to be drafted
I don't know about that. Maybe.
I mean,
for a
Maybe.
war,
we're all too
war with
old
China?
for the draft anyways.
I mean, a
We're
lot of
past
us aren't
25.
having kids because, you know,
The vaccine?
way the world is.
I'm having tons of kids.
Yeah.
But anyway, the poverty draft, it talks about, okay, so it says overall the Pentagon spends $2.5 billion a year targeting high-achieving, low-income youth with commercials, video games, personal visits, and slick brochures. So what they do is they say, these affluent I mean, have you ever listened to Fortunate Son by Creedence Clearwater Revival?
Yeah.
It talks about
It
in the
ain't me.
Vietnam area, people like Donald Trump didn't have to go to Vietnam. But people like us, I mean, I've never served, but people like us would have had to go to Vietnam
oh
back
hell
in the
yeah,
day.
my dad and my uncle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, we can talk about the Vietnam War. We don't have to go down to that can of worms, but That was a war I don't think we should have been in. I mean, you could disagree.
I don't think we should have either.
I don't think we should
Because
have.
that was a war that
That's a bad idea.
Any war
that
post
was a
World
war
II,
that wasn't threatening our borders.
right. Exactly.
And
that
any
was
war
a-
that's not threatening our borders, we shouldn't get in.
That-
I
that's
think
fault.
that was a remote test war after World War One, along with the
World War
Gulf
II,
War.
yeah.
Or I'm sorry, World War II, along with the Gulf War, to be like, can we just start making billions
Exactly.
of dollars
They
off
realized
of
how profitable-
war,
they
and
realized how
the
profitable-
taxpayers aren't going to say anything? like,
America has been at
We've
war
got
for
it.
like
We've got this.
95% of our history.
yeah,
We've been at war.
well, okay.
It's like 200 and something out of 290.
That's not
something
that
years.
bad still.
Well,
In
right.
200 years, or I guess at 300 years at this, almost, right? Wait.
And this is what I was going to give Trump president or
250.
Trump credit for. Is earlier I never said this, but he was the only president in my lifetime to never start another war, regardless of the countries he bombed and the military budget increases. He did not start another war, which he deserves credit for. I'll give him that.
That's good. He still didn't do jack shit about
Right.
these other wars.
Exactly. He started the withdrawal, and now Biden's getting credit for the withdrawal.
And
But the
I've-
thing is, the contractors are staying behind. It's still the CIA, fucking FBI people funding terrorist organizations, and then they're fighting each other, and rich people are getting richer. That's the end result.
No, it's
The,
Yeah,
de-
we
the
that's-
know,
defense
we
contractors
know we're
and all that
corrupt.
terrible
We
thing.
know
Right.
we've been
shit.
taken
and
over.
I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but
And I don't think
Yeah.
we were taken over before or after Trump. I think we were taken over way before Trump.
oh,
yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. Yeah,
I think-
like I was saying, it
I
didn't
think
start
Trump,
with Trump.
Look, I really do believe that Trump got in, and they didn't think he was going to get
I
in.
believe that too.
Yeah, I
I
believe
think that argument, like,
It was a bluff by the establishment.
right.
and
I
we
think
called-
that's
and-
why they didn't steal it
I won't
that
say
time.
I think
we-
they were no. I think they were using fraud, and they've been using fraud for a while.
but they didn't think they
It's-
needed it.
I think the fraud probably started, possibly. I mean, as the evidence points with George W. Bush, I think that's where the fraud happened. But they never had to use that much
yeah,
fraud.
The fucking Al
And I
Gore
think-
shit. Yeah.
I think the only reason Trump
Florida.
won in 2016 is because
People
there
were
was
fed
an-
the fuck up.
there was an outrageous amount of people that voted for him.
There was
to the fact that their fraud that they thought would cover it didn't cover it. And that's why 2020 took so long for us to get the election results. And that's why this whole pandemic happened. That's my opinion.
Look,
Right. And I mean, you're totally
there's
welcome. The-
first world countries who don't use Dominion. That's completely banned. Sweden,
Yeah.
France, none of them use Dominion. They are not about that.
and I'm anti-electronic voting.
Texas doesn't
like I
use
said.
Dominion.
yeah, I
Ballot, paper ballot, 100% of the
don't
way.
see
Yeah.
that being a good
Oh,
idea.
go
But-
ahead. Go ahead and
Oh,
go to
try
the
to
ballot
set-
place.
yeah.
And here in Texas and say, "Hey, I want a paper ballot." Go ahead and try it. I've tried
Yeah,
it literally
no,
every
yeah.
time I've ever gone and voted, and they say,
What the fuck's wrong with you?
You have to apply before to get
Yeah,
that. And
and
I
that's
say,
stupid.
nah, it's federal law that you're supposed to have them. And they go, we don't. And I go, okay, fucking just give me the thing and I'll go vote. In the electric machine
Yep.
that you're going to probably manipulate to
Dude,
steal
one
everything.
lady's machine while I was voting went to Spanish
Hmm.
in mid voting. Yeah, it just changed language. She was all, my machine just went to Spanish. And they're all, what? Were you done? She's all, no, it's halfway. I think I was about halfway. She's like, I haven't even got to the president yet. And I was like,
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Man, the Democratic primary. So I don't know how closely y'all followed it, but y'all know Pete Buttigieg.
yeah.
Yes.
So he paid
Gay motherfucker.
somebody. He paid somebody a bunch of money to develop the app for the Iowa caucus, which
Yeah.
is
I've heard of this.
so. And I don't know if y'all saw the video. There was a somebody that worked the elections in Iowa. It was like flipping a coin to decide, because I guess that's how they do it at caucuses. Flipping a coin to decide who would win. It was between Bernie and Mayor Pete.
Uh-huh.
He flipped the coin. He held it in his hand, and then he flipped it over, and then he was like, "Oh, Pete wins."
Yeah. You know what's really funny about that?
Mm-hmm.
Is I heard that from Alex Jones, or I was watching him.
And dude, I'm saying he's right about some shit. I just think he's been fed a lot of like misinformation in order to make him.
I definitely think there's some misinformation in Alex Jones, but
Oh yeah, we've disproved on this podcast misinformation from InfoWars.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, and that's the thing. Like all of these big platforms get infiltrated by somebody.
Well, none of it
whatever
was
the, fuck
the straw
deep
that
state shit.
breaks the camel's back.
Mhm.
I mean, there's Fox News and CNN antics that is literally like.
And that
listen,
I would call
guys,
them a twin-headed serpent.
This
yeah.
is unforgivable.
yeah,
Okay?
this is straight from
This
the
is
CCP. by
really
the way.
bad. One is just blatantly just okay, we're going to just keep going with the fake news. That's what we are. And then one is like, we never posted fake news. Like,
Right.
nothing's happening over. We're still your American.
And at least Alex Jones
You know,
will come
like-
out and go, "Hey guys, I told you something a month ago that was totally
it's not even
true."
months ago. Last year, you know, like I was saying. And
At least
dude,
he'll actually admit it.
I think
He's
it's
real.
True. That's why
Yeah.
I respect Joe Rogan. When Joe Rogan is wrong, even though I don't agree with him on a lot of things, he's an open-minded dude, which I respect. And second, when he's wrong about something, he'll be open about it and honest. And the media will fucking chastise him, like when he went against the vaccine shit, which I'm not, an anti-vax person, but he said that young people didn't need the vaccine because of the immune system. And the media fucking chastised him for it. The thing is, the media will never, ever, back up or apologize for being wrong about something or clarify misinformation or anything, So that's why I do still have some respect for Joe Rogan, even though he's a fucking sellout.
I'm with you. I enjoy a lot of his podcast.
When he has the right people on, I enjoy it because he's a great interviewer, great conversationalist.
Yes.
But like his personal opinion, sometimes I'm just like, ooh.
Yeah, I just have good luck, I think. I stumble upon very good ones.
His podcast with Cornel West is great. The one he did with Bernie. I don't know if you've listened to that one.
Yeah, I did.
Fucking who else? He's got a lot of like great intellectuals on, but I feel like and I haven't listened to it lately, so I can't really give you an honest opinion on it. But
can I say one thing, Bradyn? I think if Bernie would have got in instead of Trump, let's just
they never would have let.
Okay, but let's just say if Bernie got in Trump's position, in Trump's era, in Trump's time,
we'd all
they
be
would
eating
have
a
done
cheeseburger in paradise right now.
No, they would have done the exact same thing.
They would have killed him.
Well, I don't think they would have killed him either.
Or that is true.
I think they would have done a psyop, played him, because I don't think he has the back everybody thinks he has, man.
Yeah,
no, that's
he's
I
a
really
fucking
don't.
loser, dude.
That's my problem with Bernie. Is
He'll give in for anything as long as they buy him a new mansion.
And the thing, I mean, he's one of the like most humble politicians that we have in terms of, and he wrote a book, he made millions off the book, he bought a house. I don't have a problem with that. As an egalitarian,
that's how it works.
But the thing is, though, he's too friendly with all of these people. Like when the media talks shit about him, he's like, "Oh, I don't know why they say that about me. I'm a fucking guy over here." He needs to be like, "No, fuck you. I don't give a shit."
That's literally what everybody wants out of their politician. They want them to be real and
then
say,
Trump came around.
"Fuck you." And Trump
was like,
right.
Fuck.
And that's why.
But listen,
I understand why people like Trump because
if
of that reason.
Bernie grew a spine and got in, it would be the same thing. They'd be calling him some form of Mussolini or some,
right.
It would just
and
be
that's
a
the manufacturing consent part
because
of it.
here's the thing, Trump and Bernie are the exact same.
There's a lot of Trump supporters I know that love Bernie.
They're not in this weird little family. They're not in this you guys are all related.
They're outsiders, political outsiders.
Yeah, they're political outsiders.
And that's why the media hates them.
Yeah, and it is terrible to have to get to the point where we're just like settling for outsiders. Like,
yeah,
this guy's not with the weird Skull and Bones family. Like, get him on there. He's a talk show host, no big deal.
Yeah, our standards are so low as a society,
and it's an issue. But see, I think that's an olive branch that could be extended to both sides because I don't think you hate Trump as much as you think. I don't think anybody
here's
hates
the thing, like
Bernie as much as they think.
And I dislike Trump. I think he is an imbecile. I'll be honest with that. The thing is, he said a lot of truth, but he didn't act on any of it. Right? So he'll go out there and say like, oh, the working class people have been disenfranchised and forgotten about by the Democratic establishment. 100% agree. But the problem is, look up his tax cut. His tax cuts are just like the Bush tax cuts, man. And the
Bernie or Trump?
Trump's tax cuts. Okay, so Trump cut taxes for the rich. He cut taxes for the working class slightly. But those go away after a 10-year period, whereas the tax cuts for the rich, which were like 83% of the benefits went to the top 1%.
Have
People
you seen
like Trump's
Trump's
and those are permanent
proposal? what his proposal was and what got ultimately pushed through Congress.
I didn't see the proposal.
The verses are
and I'm not saying like Trump is completely. Thing is, Democrats voted for that. They voted for his fucking military budget increase, and then they turned around and called him a fascist.
Well, they didn't. They voted for it in the sense that they sent it back and was like, "Here's some revisions. Go ahead and change this up, and then we'll give it to you." Okay. Yeah. His 2016 tax cut literally said in the proposal, those who make under $25,000 a year
should have no taxes, no income taxes,
zero.
And I would bump that up. I would
with a letter that says I win from the government to you, saying you win because you ain't paying income tax. And there's plenty of good tax drops in the proposal.
But it's a stalemate. The whole political system is a stalemate. It's designed to be a stalemate.
And
that's the fucking...
We have a republic battling a democracy.
Now, imagine this. Imagine a world where you don't need the grocery store.
I love it already.
Imagine a world...
I hate going to the grocery store. I'm sorry.
Where you're not on...
Yeah, it's whack.
...the electric grid. Imagine a world where you don't need...
I'm getting hard right now.
The water supply that your city provides.
Oh, dude. I'm going to put
Imagine
LSD
the world
in my own water supply.
Where you don't need the roads.
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine that world.
And that meant, to me,
how much
is a utopia. But
how much would we even need to achieve that?
Not
we
need to go back in time a lot.
Back in time in our thinking, perhaps, but
the problem
forward in our technology that's already here.
There's some things that have been good from all of the growth from the Industrial Revolution. Not a lot of things, but some things. Polio vaccine.
I would say a lot.
So like
America brought the whole world electricity.
Yeah,
the way to harness the combustion engine.
to get back to vaccines, let's talk about the polio vaccine. I can't remember the name of the scientist. I'm ashamed to admit, but he refused to patent the polio vaccine because he realized this is a real problem that affects the world, and I should not try to profit from healing these people.
Yeah,
we need to return to that philosophy, as opposed to the Bill Gates philosophy, where regardless of where you think the origins of COVID began or whatever,
patent and make money.
He's trying to make money off of people's sickness. I want to return back to the society where we take care of our own. Americans take care of Americans. You're not forced to by a gunpoint or whatever, but if you feel so inclined, if you want to do the research to find a cure for something and not charge anybody for it, or not charge for a patent, charge the bare minimum, that's the kind of society I think we could thrive in, really. Just a better, healthier society, not one where Bill Gates is forcing shit on you. Whatever is in the vaccine, whatever your thoughts on it are. I believe that science does have the capability to better our lives. We should not use it as like a dependency type of thing, right?
Well, I mean, look, man, the creator of this universe gave us science.
Exactly. The scientific method is...
look, everything here is for you to learn from and to use. It's to serve you. All the animals walking on the earth.
But the thing is, a bunch of people now own all of this shit. Like, render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, render unto God that which is God's.
Well, everything is now Caesar's, so what do I do?
Yeah. Get a gun. Buy a gun. Learn how to use it.
Well, I don't know. In the Bible, it talks about how being persecuted, in that sense,
is a good thing.
Is
a blessing.
good thing. And not only that, it says, for you to endure that persecution is building up so much treasures in the next life that it's unimaginable,
right,
for your
self,
flesh mind, So basically, like the mark of the beast back in Roman times was, Caesar said, okay, unless you bow to me, you can't buy and sell in Rome.
Right, and that's worshiping a false god.
But too, that's something that goes directly against. So that's where you draw the line.
Right.
And if they're saying, hey, take this vaccine that literally changes your DNA from what God created you to a abnormal, whatever, man-made thing, because come on, man, this vaccine changes your DNA.
Yeah,
it literally goes into every single cell you have in your body and changes how it functions.
And it was made, well, at least as far as we know, it was made super quick.
Yeah.
So it's a little sus.
I'm just saying.
About that one.
But look, I don't even think it protects you against fucking COVID. Like, I think it's literally just preparing you for the next vaccine they come up with.
Another get-rich-quick scheme is what I view it as.
And it's get-rich-quick scheme, and it's
pharmaceutical companies and insurance companies.
But there's a purpose behind the getting rich, not just getting rich.
Well, getting rich is
control.
Control,
and under capitalism, money is control.
Look, getting rich is the short-term gain. The long-term gain is what it all achieves. But in the short term, yeah, you're going to get rich, but you're also going to change humanity.
Right. Shape politics, legislation.
You're going to turn people into little slaves.
Right.
The people that aren't already. You know?
I agree.
Look, that's what it's all about, man.
Right.
This whole political
prison song by System of a Down. Remember when we used to listen to System of a Down?
It's all about...
They're trying to build a prison for you and me.
But it's all about enslaving us. It's all about having us controlled.
The Matrix. The slave. You're a slave in your own mind.
They're gonna build a prison.
All right, I got a piece, so I'll let y'all jam out.
Trying to build a prison.
Dude, stop going that loud.
Trying to build a prison. Sorry, man. It's System of a Down doesn't hold back.
They're trying to build a prison.
For you to meet 11. For you to meet 11. Another business is up. Another business is up. Another business is up.
Hey, do y'all want to go jam after this or no? Is it too late?
It's way too late.
But it is 4th of...
Happy 4th of July, everybody.
I bet we could get away with it just because it's 4th of July
right?
weekend.
Get your mic away from it, dude.
Sorry, I thought we were jamming out.
Yeah, we are, but remember you moved your mic out and it sounds so much better.
Is it like is it still vibrating like that?
It's all what? Oh yeah, it's bad. Yeah, I forget you don't have your headphones in.
I do.
That's good.
I'm so out of tune. Hear E string. Hit it one more time.
What are we playing?
Not that.
No?
I can't do it, man.
You can't?
I can't do it.
I don't blame you. Dude, I'm lit right now. I'm like, I don't know how many beers deep. I'm not even going to talk about the other things I've consumed. But
Here, let's write a new song, Caleb.
Another new one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
Another one.
All right. What are you at?
I want to hit your E again. Hit one more time.
Sounds gnarly, man.
I'm way off.
Sounds like the G string is, or the B maybe. There you go.
I don't know where that one's at.
I'm way off still. It doesn't matter.
Dude. It sounds better when you don't tune your guitar. That's
the
John Frusciante philosophy.
Don't be doing something crazy. You're just gonna make stuff up, huh? What are you doing? G, C, and or
No,
E?
that was a White Stripe song.
Oh.
All right, what you got?
What you got?
Dude, we can't play that song.
I know. Dude, to be honest, sitting with this acoustic like this is terrible. Terrible way to do things.
Vibe, yeah. Bass, I feel better playing bass when it's like
Yeah,
lower.
I need low and like.
Need some room to move your arms.
I don't know, dude. You make some stuff up. Go right now.
Sing a song from the
Come on,
soul.
Monkey Steve.
Jazz improvisation. Sing a song about Bill Gates as Alex Jones. This is gonna be beautiful.
There's a man that wants to kill your babies, and it wants to turn men into ladies. There's a man that wants to distribute vaccines that makes you subhuman, turns you into a machine. Bill Gates is his name, and I'm trying to tell you he's pretty lame. All the things he wants to do, to me it smells like poo.
Those chords were ridiculous.
Dude, that was terrible. Like,
I went from A to D to G for some reason.
Works
I
for
don't even
Chris
know if that
Tomlin.
works.
where are you at, man?
A,
Yeah.
D to G, which is your third fret on your E string.
Oh.
I don't know why I did that, but it sounds very Alex Jonesy.
There's interdimensional demons that are inside your head, coming through your TV screen, making sure your babies are dead. There's a man going around pushing people to the ground. His name, it kinda makes my brain ache. They call him Bill Gates, and he's got a vaccine, make you part of a machine. Interdimensional demons lead the way. If you ask me, Bill Gates is pretty gay. Oh, there's a man. Woo! And this man, he's got a plan. And his planet's gonna expand until he gets his way. He's coming for your sister. He's already got your mama too. And pretty sure he'll have you. And there ain't nothing you can do. His name is Bill Gates. His plan's gonna escape. There ain't no walls that can hold him back.
That was impressive, man.
Yeah, you like that? What else you got? Give me another topic.
Freestyle. Shoot, I don't know, man. I'm still trying to soak in everything you just said.
Alex Jones is the best. Go ahead and put him up to the test. He give you tomorrow's news today. If you don't believe it, it's 'cause you're probably gay. Homosexuals, they don't know. Because their mind is full of snow. 'cause they sniff a lot of cocaine.
Okay.
They got nanotechnology in their brain. Bill Gates is his name. The man that funds all the research. That puts your niece in therapy. Well, she learns her name is Greg. You better respect Greg. 'Cause if you don't, you're gonna get pegged. You're gonna be turned into a cuck. The government cares about her that much. Bill Gates is his name. He's gonna make the world sane. He's gonna turn your vaccines into some 50s sci-fi dreams. Imagine a world where you own nothing and you're happy all the time. The government chooses your work. I can't think of anything that rhymes. Bill Gates is his name. He's gonna make this world obedient again. Render unto Caesar what's Caesar's. But I'm pretty sure he's gay.
They were into some shit.
Okay, sorry.
Dude, that was cool.
Bill Gates is his name. Don't forget Jeffrey Epstein, too. They're all going to a party. I didn't get invited to. Drink baby's blood today.
It's like wine from grapes, except it makes you never age. Adrenochrome makes you gay.
Holy shit.
How was that?
Dude, that was the best outro. We need to just stop while we're ahead.
Okay.
That was a good outro.
In other words, it was terrible.
No. No, not at all. Oh, that was terrible.